Terry? Well, I'm going to put my thingy up.
Well,
My Hazy Watch. Okay.
Well, I don't want to sound out of place at all, but I think we'll be okay if we don't get PhD Tony.
Thingy up.
only takes a few seconds. I'm not going to have time to put more paint in the hopper. So as soon as I fired my last shot, my hand went up in the air, which is the universal "don't shoot me" symbol.
I give up.
So it was like I'm stuffed. You keep flicking left to right, left to right. You're thinking, I'm going to run out of paint in a minute. There it goes. Okay, I'm out. Hand up. Yeah, it can get a little. It only takes a few seconds. I'm not going to have time to put more paint in the hopper. So as soon as I
that was me, I think.
I think it was. Yeah, it was you, Terry. Yeah.
Well, it's good I did it now. It was good I did it now. That way we know what's going on.
Yeah. But yes, in that photo, what you can't see to the left-hand side is a stack of tyres. I'm probably about 2 foot behind them, and that's the incoming paint is bursting on the tyres and spattering me with the yellow paint fill.
Well, here you go. I'll switch us on that way the peanuts can see what's going on.
That's fair.
There we go. Morning, peanuts, or evening, afternoon.
Good day.
We've got the usual crowd out there by the look of it. Oh, we've got a Stingray. You able to drop in today, Stingray, or you working? Who else? We've got the usual crowd. Yep. Well, I'm going to have to resort to playing a video again today of somebody that everybody may not like, but his initials are QE, if that's a clue. And I haven't gone through
questionable education.
Yeah, I haven't gone through the video because it goes for a couple of hours, but we'll do the usual Float Earth cherry pick, and we'll grab a section out that's to do with their explanation of modus tollens. I think they're discussing a different subject, but as Peter said, they may be able to reverse their argument back onto themselves. I'll wait till Peter can explain that what he thought what was going on.
Well, I am hiding. Shh.
Shh. Okay.
Well, the argument would be whatever statement QE uses to debunk and or argue against the globe Earth, if it comes to a point where his argument actually starts working against him about observations and or other things that he's made claims about, well, QE would have to admit defeat.
Objection, Your Honor. Moderator.
Moderator.
This guy's making too much sense. Kick him. Get rid of this guy. Freaking retard.
He's using logic and reason against me.
I'm not going to stand for this nonsense.
And also we've also got Gravity Guru's usual picture of somebody with their initials, and we're getting a couple of guesses out in the peanut gallery already.
This is an easy one today.
Yeah, Hads and John Rapp guess J.J. Thompson or Joseph John
right.
Thompson.
Oh, there you go.
Hads is right.
Can you guess what the JJ stands for?
Well, he was universally known as J.J. Thompson.
Oh, okay.
Bit like Tolkien, isn't it? Everybody knows it's J.J.R.
And Hads, what was his field of expertise?
Or J.R.
If you want to go that far.
Tolkien.
What field of
I
expertise?
always wondered if George R.R. Martin did that just to jump on the Tolkien bandwagon.
I'll say he was a physicist. That's my guess. What? A guest? Oh, that's cool. I was going to say mathematician, but I thought no. I'll say physicist. So which video is that, Peter? That's that one.
I don't know, Terry. It's probably the one you're not looking at.
No, I found it. I've got it here. It's all ready to go. Which view is better? That view? So I can do it that
Oh
view,
look, you
but
can
then
tell
it's
you can
not.
tell it's QE. It's in pretty colours
Yeah, I'll
and
do it.
umpteen different font styles.
Yeah, I'll do it in that view.
Yeah.
That way you can see it.
I think he does that just to confuse the matter even more.
You think?
Possibly.
No, you're wrong, Peter. The simple explanation is he does it because he's an idiot.
Yes.
You know what I should?
of course.
You know what I should write up the
There's
top
that.
in the search bar. I should write Pornhub there.
Look what happens when you search Pornhub on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just don't hit enter after you type
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I know. I know. Oh dear. Now we haven't screened this at all. He'd already suggested a hypothesis for something before this screen. But I suppose if we... What do you think? We should just play it from here, Peter, and then just see where it goes, and then...
You could
jump...
probably go back.
Yeah, but the bit he goes
if
back
you-
to is already an hypothesis to do some diabetic suffers something, and...
Yeah, so it's just a it's quantifying his version of making a observation and hypothesis and all of that type of stuff. So
Mhm.
it's it kind of explains the way he's thinking. I'm not saying that it's right, but it's just
Yeah, but is this a scientific theory that he's going through? For an,
well,
exper-
he
for an
explains
experiment?
that. Yeah, he kind of explains his thinking with all of that, Terry. So
Yeah, but he's going through this example here. Do we have to go back any further, or...?
no further. That
I'd say we
should
just go
kind
from
of do
here.
there.
Oh, we'll let it go for a couple of minutes, and then please say pause at any time.
Ketoacidosis.
Pause.
The null hypothesis.
Huh?
Please say pause. Just say pause.
I'm sorry, Pip, but I think we might actually have to listen to it.
No.
Given otherwise healthy type 1 diabetes patients, the lack of insulin on it will not lead to diabetic ketoacidosis. So the independent variable here is insulin or the lack of. It can be manipulated. And the dependent variable, the effect or the prediction, is diabetic ketoacidosis. This is a viable scientific inquiry. Both hypotheses are viable, and so are the independent and dependent variables. Now, I want to stop here for a minute and take a look at this alternative and the null. Is there any similarities between these two guys? Right? It looks like they're mirror images, save for the fact that the alternative is will and the null is will not, correct? They are mirror images. That's what these guys need to be. The wiki parroters out there.
Pause. Null and alternative hypothesis don't need to be mirror images of each other.
No.
They just have to be things that they can be contradictory, but they don't have to be mirror images of each other. All right, keep going.
Okay.
You know, we've been hearing it. I don't know where they got this from, other than Wiki, that science can't prove anything. It can only disprove, right? Well, they're clumsily attempting to parrot without any background whatsoever, which is hilarious, by the way. The goal of every single scientific inquiry is to reject or falsify this guy, the null hypothesis. Okay?
Pause, Jerry.
How do we do that?
Hey?
Someone said pause.
I didn't hear it enough. Sorry.
No, I said pot kettle.
Oh, pot kettle. Yeah, that's why I didn't think it was
Yeah.
pause.
I thought you said potato. So, you know, we're in the same boat, Terry.
Banana.
Tomato.
Like, I heard something and I'm going, that didn't sound like pause.
Oh, when he said something, I went, no, pork kettle.
Okay.
I just listen to people.
Well, if you say pause at any random time, we'll make something up.
Okay.
Well, we confirm or validate the alternative hypothesis, right? These two are the antithesis of each other. So if we test the alternative hypothesis, that gives us the answer as to whether we can keep the null or it's rejected and falsified. I hope that's clear to everyone. In conclusion, the null hypothesis or the zero difference hypothesis from California State. To do a hypothesis test that's an experiment, you will actually have two hypotheses, the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis, which are stated in such a way that they are mutually exclusive. You can't have both hypotheses be true. The null hypothesis is the conclusion that is considered the default. That is, you will accept this hypothesis if you fail to find sufficient support for the alternative hypothesis. So we're going to accept this if we fail to find sufficient support for this guy. Hopefully.
So is that right or not?
Well,
It's right to a point, but I mean, we don't have to accept the null hypothesis if the other hypothesis, just because your hypothesis is incorrect does not necessarily imply that the null hypothesis is correct. Does that make sense? And he's trying to frame it. He's trying to frame this false dichotomy where if you test your hypothesis against the null hypothesis and your hypothesis proves to be incorrect, then by default, the null hypothesis must be the one that we accept. And so if he can call into question any evidence that supports your hypothesis, thereby removing a brick in the wall of your case, then it comes collapsing down like a legal defense, and therefore the earth is flat. That's the logic he's trying to arrive at by this little PowerPoint presentation.
And what I was alluding to, Terry, now, with everything that he's just said just then, as right or wrong as it might be, we could then use this whole narrative on that lovely picture of those oil rigs. Being that we should be able to see, if the earth is flat, we should be able to see both of those oil rigs exactly the same every single day. If the earth is globe, we may be able to see it some days and we may not be able to see it the other days because of refraction and other events along those lines. And since there are days that we don't see that other oil rig or that other oil rig, that means the earth must be flat. And that's using exactly what he says right there, completely against him. Therefore, the earth is a globe.
So it's just a black and white thing then, isn't it? It's either if it's not, it's this. If it is, well, it's that. That's just.
Yeah, he likes to make it a dichotomy, Terry. But often in science, it's not that cut and dried. It's rarely that obvious whether something's true or false. A good example was general relativity, right? When general relativity came out, there was no experimental means of testing it. We could test it via observations, and that's what they did in the 1919 solar eclipse with Eddington. They tested it with an observation, but you couldn't really call that an experiment. It's an observational test of general relativity, and yet the theory was pretty much accepted. There were still people that didn't accept it back then, but it was gaining acceptability. Especially among scientists, but it hadn't been experimentally verified yet. So this nonsense about you have to experimentally verify something first is nonsense.
Okay.
Hopefully that's clear. When you prove this, you ipso facto reject or falsify the null. It's just that simple. So, experiment. What's an experiment? From Penn State, there should be 3 categories of variables in every experiment: the dependent, the independent, and the controlled. The independent variable, the cause, that which is varied and manipulated.
Pause.
Remember, it has 2 requirements.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought something didn't
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah. When he says the independent variable, the cause, that's not necessarily the case. Just because the independent variable can be the cause, it doesn't always have to be the cause of something. Like, for instance, we can plot a graph of time versus height of a plant. Okay, so the time would be the independent variable and the plant height would be the dependent variable. And yet there's no, you cannot say that time causes plants to be higher. That's not the true case.
No.
And yet, you can have all sorts of independent and dependent variable combinations where the independent variable is not necessarily the cause that makes a change in the dependent variable. The only criteria you have to have for an independent variable is that it be not affected by any other variables in your experiment. That's why it's called the independent variable, not necessarily because it's the cause.
Well, in your analogy of the plant growth, is when you're throwing in the independent variables, would that be the light, the water, soil, stuff like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you try it one without dirt and you go, oh, why isn't it growing? But then you had the light on it, but then you take the light off. You'd have to do heaps of experiments just in that one thing about the plant growth. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Gravity was saying before. QE really likes to make it black or white, on or off, one or the other. And even if you were to turn around and say something really simple like I have a circuit here. When I turn the switch on, the light comes on when I turn the switch on. However, the light is not on at the moment. That means the switch must be off. Well, that's not quite right because the battery might be flat. There's always other things that may give a different result to what you believe may occur.
Yeah, we covered this with QE about a year and a half ago on Sean or Jose's show one night. QE gets on there talking about independent and dependent variables, and somebody brings up, pressing the gas pedal on a car, the accelerator makes it go, and therefore it's the accelerator that makes the car go, right? I mean, according to QE logic. But we all know that there are so many other processes involved with making a car go that you can't just isolate it down to the accelerator pedal.
No, that's
if
you
you
that
run out of
make
gas, that accelerator ain't going to do shit.
That's you that make the car go.
Yeah.
Without you, was the car self-autonomous?
No, you will the car to go.
Hey, Blue.
Yeah, Blue snuck in. I seen him.
Hi, Blue.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
It was.
We got
Blue, I'm pretty sure it was you that brought that example up. Now that I think about it, was it you that pointed that out to QE?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. I've slept a few times since then, so my memory's a little vague. But I remember that conversation. But obviously, he has florphnesia, so every time he leaves a panel, he just forgets everything that we point out to him. So.
Yeah.
Without even listening to what he's got written there, I'm going, the dependent variable, which is what you're depending on, the effect, and the result is the prediction. What, you hadn't even made a prediction.
Yeah, he needs to. He needs desperately to keep all of you good people from looking behind the curtain. Don't pay any attention to that man behind the curtain.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Here is the definition. Do not look any further. It's this definition.
Hmm.
Don't you dare consider a possibility that, well, what if it isn't what if it's not the either one of the variables? What if none of that's what the cause is? Or what if there are multiple causes? Don't you dare ask
That's
those
impossible.
questions.
That's impossible.
Don't you
That would
dare ask those
require
questions.
nuance and shades of gray. And, there's no way we live in a black and white world with on-off switches. Come on, everybody knows that.
I didn't pick either one of those, so how could they be the effect?
Right.
No, that's right. I can absolutely, completely prove using Cuy's logic that black mailboxes prevent rhinoceros attacks. I have had a black mailbox in front of my house for years now, and not one damn rhinoceros has ever come to my front door.
Well, there you go. That proves it then.
Yep.
That proves
That's proof.
it. Absolutely.
There we go.
That's pretty much the way that clown thinks. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
It's varied or manipulated by the scientist to produce the effect. The dependent variable is the effect, the result, or your prediction. And the controlled variables that are held constant so as not to confound the test. You don't want anything in there confounding your results. From explorable.com.
Like the truth.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. You know what? That's something obvious, isn't it?
Experimentation. There are three important variables you have to remember when you're designing your experiment.
Righto.
The independent, the dependent, and the controlled variables.
Right.
Pretty much lining up.
Yeah.
Let's go to Wiki. Let's see what Wiki has to say about this.
Wiki
The
or
Wiki
Wiki?
experiment. An experiment.
Is that his accent? Is that his accent? Is it?
Yeah.
Wiki.
Wiki. Wiki. Okay. Wiki.
Wiki.
But bear in mind, Quantum Eraser, that Wiki also says that the Earth is a globe.
Oh no!
We're using Wiki as the source. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Caltech website that he's using as a citation also says the same thing. So
I know it does. I've looked it up and used it before.
Is a procedure carried out to support, refute, or validate a hypothesis. Experiments provide insight into cause and effect by demonstrating what outcome occurs when a particular factor is manipulated. So I want
Pause for a
everyone
moment, Terry. He seems to be solely focused on this cause and effect relationship. But in science, you also have other relationships. You have correlational relationships too. Correlational relationships are a big part of science as well. Okay, so it's not just cause and effect. You can also have correlational relationships as well.
For example, you want to use our plant analogy as well, because we can stick to that for now.
Well, I mean, like correlational relationships is when you change something and something else changes, but they don't necessarily cause each other. Like, for instance, it might be that. Let's have a think about it.
That's why I thought the plant. That's why I thought the plant one would be ideal, because it's not anyone's expertise, so to speak. So.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yep. Keep going.
Okay.
take a wild guess what that factor being manipulated is. It's the independent variable, like we just went over 25 times. So in conclusion, I'm going to leave this up for a couple minutes. In conclusion, The alternative hypothesis, this is how you differentiate between these guys. The alternative hypothesis is independent variable plus your dependent variable, that's the cause and the effect, equals a prediction of cause and effect. The null hypothesis is the independent variable plus the dependent variable equals prediction of no cause and effect. The zero difference, the null, no. And the experiment is the independent variable plus the dependent variable plus what? The controlled variables equals prediction
Wait,
of
hold
cause
on, pause for a second. Okay, so he's equating null in this scenario to no. Did I hear that correctly? As in the
Yes.
no hypothesis? Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure I caught that. Okay,
Yeah.
just check.
Yeah.
He's wrong about that. So okay.
effect. Hopefully this is getting through and this is clear. So there won't be too much more confusion over this. All right, science. The intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. So what's the natural world? All of the animals, plants, and other things existing in nature and not made or caused by people.
Wrong, pause, stop, halt.
There's the natural world and there's the supernatural world.
Yes. Everything physical in the universe is part of the natural world, whether man-made or not.
Again, it's this weird conflation or false dichotomy that it's either natural or supernatural, and that anything man creates artificially is unnatural. I mean, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
You know,
and anything that man creates still follows the natural laws of the universe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, where's the cutoff? You know, I mean, if a beaver makes a dam, that's natural, right? I mean, even though it's artificially created by that beaver, it's not like those logs just piled themselves up that way to create a dam on their own. But if a human does it, it's not natural. I don't understand that dichotomy.
Caused by people. No. What's the physical? Well, of, relating to, or resembling material things or nature, the physical universe. So the definition of physics from physics.org.
You're jumping
The
around all over the
dictionary
place.
definition of physics is the study of matter, energy, and the interaction between them.
Yeah, but he's jumping to the word physics from physical. That's just because it's got the... yeah.
But what that really means is that physics is about asking fundamental questions and trying to answer them by observing and experimenting. So physicists ask really big questions, which is ironic because most of these are not scientific inquiries. How did the universe begin? How will the universe change in the future? How does the sun keep on shining? And what are basic building blocks of matter? Yeah, they're
Right.
gonna have to
How
take...
is that not the province of scientific inquiry?
Of course it is.
How the universe began and things like that. How are those not
Well,
questions?
they're observed
Science.
phenomenon, like why is all the stars moving in one direction away from a central point, and something's going on here.
They are all literally fundamental questions that drive science.
Right. Is that all the purview of religion? Is that what he's arguing? Like we shouldn't ask those questions or pursue those lines of inquiry?
Because he said so. Duh.
Oh, you're right, Blue. Sorry. Carry on. My bad. Shit. I'm using logic and reason again.
We're not allowed to ask the big questions, or the little ones either, by the sound of it.
Take a re-look at those. So if something's natural and physical, it must have either chemical formula or structure, charge, mass, momentum or spin, or kcals, kilojoules, or millielectron volts, folks.
Is that it? Is that the whole
That's
list?
not an exhaustive list. It's not exhaustive, but you know, he's just basically saying that if it's natural, we should be able to measure it in some way.
It's material,
Yep.
natural and physical. It must satisfy either one of these, at least.
So, pause.
Our shoes have some of those things.
Yeah. So now what he's doing is he's adding the word physical onto the end of it, as if it's got to be physical to be natural as well. Okay, which is just not the case. I mean, would you call happiness a physical thing? And yet it's part of the natural universe. People can study scientifically the phenomenon of happiness, right?
Well,
they do it
my
in
happiness
psychology.
weighs about 5 kilograms and it produces about 1,000 joules. So I don't know about you, but it's measurable.
Can we hook a generator up to your happiness then?
Yes, my happiness index is very, very tangible. So, you know, yes, Huey, you're wrong.
Yeah, but you've manipulated your happiness.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
no,
this
no,
is-
my happiness exists independently of my free will. I have no control over it. I want to be a grouchy bastard, but unfortunately, I'm just happy all the time. I can't figure it out. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, but this
One of
is a
these
trick.
days.
This is a trick that QE does all the time. He tacks things onto the end of definitions and says, well, it has to be this and this, otherwise it's not correct. Like he's now tacking the word physical onto the end of the statement about natural things. And so now what he's going to do is say, well, if it isn't physical, it's not natural. Keep going. More dirt.
So show us either of these for a vacuum, right? Because this was a subject that was brought up this week. Show us one of those when a vacuum is defined as, even from Wiki, vacuum is a space devoid of matter.
Stop.
Okay. I'm pressing stop. I'm pressing it.
Just quit, QE. Good God Almighty. There is no such thing as a perfect vacuum. There is no such thing as an area that is devoid of matter, unless you want to get into the space between the electrons and the nucleus of an atom.
Yeah.
And we're not even sure that's true.
No.
What is wrong with this dipshit?
Yeah, even the space between atoms is full of like quantum foam or something, basically. So, I mean, there's nothing that's completely devoid of anything, and that's the problem. If you found something that had no measurable qualities, then how would you even know? I mean, if it had no measurable qualities and no observable qualities, then that would be the definition of nothing, right?
But Blue, my mum's got one of those Dysons that plug on the wall and charges so it's cordless. And for her, she reckons that's the perfect vacuum.
And I'm sure you love your mother very much. And for that reason alone, I would let her continue to think that.
What about the space between QEs and years? Would that qualify as a perfect vacuum at this point?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
but what we're saying,
that is overloaded with stupid.
What we're seeing here, though, is his application now of you have to have physicality for it to be part of the natural universe. I mean, even if there was an area of space that was completely devoid of matter, it's still part of the natural universe. Okay?
It's just distance between objects. Like, I don't understand how they can look at things and go, space is fake. And you're like, so there's no distance between things? What? It makes no sense when they say things like that.
But he's not going to get into the definition of what a vacuum is as well, and space. He's just going to put them two together and go.
Exactly. He started out by misrepresenting vacuum. There's no definition hard and fast for vacuum. Vacuum is what we consider anything less than the atmospheric pressure we live at sea level. So technically speaking, if you're not at sea level at 14.7 pounds per square inch, if you're at some lesser pressure, you're in a partial vacuum. It's just a man-made construct. Huey is playing word games like he always does.
Dean's
Yeah.
trying to
And the
say.
funny thing is that, like, our daily experience, you know, living at 14.7 psi, that's the anomaly, not the rule. You know,
Right.
you go a couple of miles up, no, not even that much. I mean, you go a mile up and the pressure is half of what it was at the ground, and you keep going and it keeps dropping, and you get out into space and there's hardly any pressure at all. Well, that's pretty much the rule. You know, I mean, and not the exception. That's the rule. Living on Earth with atmospheric pressure is the exception. Dumbass. I hate
Well,
QB so much.
Like
I'll
Stingray
shut
kind
up.
of pointed.
Yeah, I'm
like,
trying
like
to get
Stingray
that out.
kind
Yeah,
of pointed
I'm
out
trying
in
to
the
get.
chat.
I'm trying to get that out.
You know, well, Stingray said a 1 by 1 by 1 centimeter volume between the Earth and Mercury. We could not find the volume devoid of anything. And with that, you know, I'm sorry, but space is full of dust and debris and asteroids and all types of other crap floating around up there, including gases and stuff. So that kind of
Yeah, I want to
upsets
say
me.
that they mapped out the average density of the universe, and it's something like 3 hydrogen atoms per cubic meter, or something like that. So if you think about it, that's not a lot for a cubic meter. I mean, we're talking about atoms here. So I mean, to us, it would look devoid of anything. But I mean, if you had a precise enough measuring instrument, you could see that.
Okay.
So let's look at the definition of physics again. It's a study of matter, energy, and the interaction between them. So how in the world can physicists study matter and energy without matter and energy? Or vacuum. It's devoid of matter. Again, science, the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. It says physical and natural world to carefully delineate the physical and natural, that's light, helium, nitrogen, oxygen, lightning, tornadoes, electrons, protons, neutrons, etc., from the physical non-natural, that is lawnmowers, computer desks, vacuum.
No, wrong. Absolutely wrong.
Right. Those are artificial, not unnatural.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that false dichotomy again.
What?
It falls into it's natural or it's not category.
Is he claiming that lawnmowers don't obey the natural laws of the universe?
Well, I've had a couple that I think might qualify for that.
Yeah, last time I checked, you have to keep putting fuel in it to make the bloody things run.
Only 5-speed transmissions, though. Not 3-speed or 4 speeds or 6 speeds. Only the 5 speeds.
Oh, so my 6-speed gearbox on my car is completely natural then?
The rest are godly like.
Chicken coops? Anyone got a duck coop or a pigeon coop?
I duck.
Okay. Steel belted radials? Well, you can get cross-ply tyres. So
I've still got a set on both of my vintage cars, actually.
Okay. The list could go on. No, you didn't say what type of computer desk. Now that's.
Oh no, mine's made out of timber, Terry. So that's natural, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hope you didn't mean one from IKEA.
Stingray says he's I have a single speed.
That's right, he does.
Chambers, 5-speed transmissions, chicken coops, steel belted radials. Okay? This is not a natural phenomenon like all the others.
Wrong, it is.
And this should drive home the point from Kennesaw State. A law describes what nature does, as opposed to a theory explaining how nature works. So, are these guys talking about the toaster oven laws? or the lawnmower theories? I don't think so. Now, on to scientific theories and scientific laws. Before we start into the scientific theories, I hope everyone's aware that there's a difference between scientific theories and the colloquial theory. The colloquial theory is abject speculation. Well, I have a theory on this and this and this. No, you have a speculation on it. It's probably best to use that word.
Wouldn't it be a speculative theory?
I mean, there is a difference between, the colloquial usage of theory, which is a hunch or more in line with a hypothesis if you were to try to line it up with a scientific meaning. So, I mean, he's sort of right there. I don't disagree with him about that. I don't understand why he's bringing it up because they're the side that bandies around that term on a regular basis.
Because as soon as you say theory, people all of a sudden, relate scientific theory when most people don't know what that is either. But you know what I'm saying. So scientific theories, everything in science is defined precisely. They have a precise meaning. Scientific theories explain the how and the why, the mechanism and the process, and identify the cause, right? Uh-oh, boy, that sounds like a hypothesis, doesn't it? The how and the why and identify the cause, that's like germ theory, right? Yeah, because scientific theories are the result of validated, confirmed scientific hypotheses that have been rigorously tested. That's why they sound like them. As opposed to scientific laws, they only describe. There's a difference between explanations and descriptions. And the difference is explanations answer how, why questions. Descriptions answer what is question. So for laws, the how and why and the cause is not applicable. They are based solely on observations, often expressed mathematically, because mathematics are descriptions. For example, the second law of thermodynamics. That's why they're called the laws of thermodynamics and not the theories of thermodynamics. There's a reason for that. And a scientific law never becomes a scientific theory or vice versa because they each deal with different questions and both are in two different domains. Again, Kennesaw State.
Yeah, whoa.
Pause that. Okay. So a law, he is right that a law is a mathematical principle that you can derive from observations, right? Like laws of motion and things like that. But a theory is made up of all the data sets, all the observations, all the hypotheses and experiments and things like that, which include the mathematical derivations that you get from making those observations. So I don't see this vast gulf between the two, right? I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think he's trying to paint them into this light where they're mutually exclusive and they're not.
And you can't make one into another, which is false. Like a law is basically something that we observe over and over and over again, and we always see the same thing happen. Okay, so we've got a mathematical explanation for it. It happens like that every time we see it. We'll call that a law. Okay, Newton's law of gravitation. Every time we drop something, it falls towards the earth. Okay, and it does in a very particular way that we can use mathematics to predict accurately. And so it's called the law of gravitation. Okay, now if we have a group of laws and a group of observations and enough supporting evidence to support a hypothesis, we may call that hypothesis now a theory. So laws are something that are part of a theory. So they're part of the supporting evidence for a theory.
Yes. You said it a lot better than I did.
Yeah.
A law describes what nature does, and a theory explains how nature works. From this view, laws and theories do different things and have different roles to play in science. And remember from our last discussion about scientific laws or physical laws. right? They're not actually scientific. It's a misnomer because no scientific law.
They're not actually scientific. I mean, what does that even mean? Are they philosophical? Are they religious? What is he talking about?
I mean, most of the laws that we've got in science come about because of countless observations and experiments that we've done, and mathematics that we've used to formulate those laws and explain what the observations are from those experiments. I mean, that can't be any more scientific.
No.
Yeah, Had says, yeah, Ohm's law. I was thinking of that one too.
Yeah, and Newton's laws of motion they can be
enters
derived from relativity. So I mean, like they're part and parcel. I mean, they go together like carrots and peas, Jenny.
scientific
I
method.
Disconnect.
I was just going to say, I think what Had said that really, like, even for myself, you know, being a lame person, when I was doing my associate diploma in electronics, now you get taught the theory of electronics. In that, you get taught Ohm's law. Now, it's the theory of electronics you get taught. It's the theory part of it, and it encompasses all of the laws that go with it.
Yeah, he's just got a weird disconnect between law and theory. That I mean, he's trying to draw a wall of separation between them, I guess, so we can try to knock one down. I guess we have to continue further on to figure out what his motivations are here. But
it's probably got something to do with the theory of gravitation.
Probably. Murphy's law is derived from Murphy's theory.
Might speed him up a bit if he talks too slow.
You can't enter it. You can't ask a cause and effect question on a scientific law. And I've used the laws of entropy. We only know that they exist. We don't know the cause of why heat flows from hot to cold or energy from concentrated to dispersed, always. We don't know the cause of that. It just does. Okay, that's the science review. Now, back to gravity. This is starting to come up again. I don't know for what reason, but let's go over it again.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
You called it. You nailed it. Gravity, shocker.
We called it already. We can skip all this.
Gravity. Any moron knows that if you drop an anvil from elevation, that it's going to fall to the ground. Conjuring a word that describes the action, gravity, or Dougal slope regards, or whatever, I can just make up a term, doesn't validate that it's the cause. It's just a description. However, this is very important. When somebody states gravity in our common vernacular,
yeah, well, I can't disagree with that. It's just the word we've given to that phenomenon of things falling at 9.8 meters per second squared. Is that the right thing?
Yeah, no, I mean, we agree with that, but I mean, his argument is ultimately probably, I think, gonna revolve around the definition game. Yeah, we don't know what the cause is, and therefore you can't use that term. Maybe, I don't know. I'm speculating there.
Why is it at this particular point in time, I'm getting like a flashback of, you could call it unicorn farts, but the numbers really don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the experiment.
From the experiment, that's right.
The experiment, yeah.
But it's the same thing. He's using underhanded tactics to pretend that he knows more than his people or his audience, and confusing the whole situation himself.
Yeah. He makes it way more complicated than it really needs to be.
Yeah.
A scientific law is a straight out observation without any explanation for what goes on. Newton's laws of motion don't
Yep.
explain anything. They just tell you that force is equal to mass times acceleration. That shit at rest tends to stay that way. Yeah, those are simple observations, and that's what we always see. The Newtonian law of gravity. That's right. Every time we drop something, it falls to Earth. A theory, on the other hand, the general theory of relativity, attempts to explain it. It's that simple.
Yep.
Spectacular, they're immediately invoking a cause, whether they like it or not. It's either mass attracting
Jesus
mass,
Christ.
that's Cavendish or Newtonian gravity, or space-time, and that's Einsteinian. So Cavendish or Newtonian gravity is a force.
Hey, Blue.
Yeah, he's coming after me here, I think. I hope so.
Hey, you need some more cannon fodder for a video, Blue. Here it is.
You betcha.
Well, he's got the cannonballs now.
QE's the gift that keeps on giving.
And Blue's got a couple of extra spare balls you can throw back at him.
I do.
Force, whereas Einsteinian gravity is not a force. There's a big difference here, folks. From Caltech, Einstein came up with the theory of general relativity in 1915, the prototype of all modern gravitational theories. Its crucial ingredient, involving a colossal intellectual jump, is the concept of gravitation not as a force. Let's all sing this together. Not as a force, but as a manifestation of the curvature of space-time. These guys are not even in the same geometry. Newton.
He didn't say that word for word like that, though, did he? Einstein, when he wrote out his.
No, he didn't say that. No.
Newtonian or Cavendish gravity is in Euclidean 3 space, whereas Einsteinian gravity is in pseudo-Riemannian 4 space.
Stop.
What?
It's the guy wasn't from Romania, you dumb shit.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say too. He's not fucking Romanian.
They cannot pronounce that word. They are. God, just play it. I'm going to lose my shit here in a second.
and he's right. Like, they want to delineate this thing about one being a force and one not being a force. But you can think of Einsteinian gravity as being a pseudo force. It presents as a pseudo force, which is quite valid way to think about it. More do.
Sure, I actually had that conversation after Glean chastised me one day, and I went over and talked to Barney Tierspell about it, and he turned me on to the concept of like Lagrangian physics, where forces aren't even discussed at all.
Yeah.
There are different frameworks or paradigms, whatever, however you want to think about it, and all these are just human concepts that describe observation. So it's no less valid to say in one frame of reference, it's a force. In another frame of reference, it's a pseudo force. Like, what does it matter? We can observe the phenomenon. We can predict what's going to happen, and those predictions bear fruit. And then we can use our understanding of these processes for actual mechanical purposes, right? Like we can predict like how much fuel we need to put in a rocket to launch it up into space. We can predict how we need to build a bridge to keep it from collapsing under its own weight. I mean, how are these not valid predictions and observations?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter whether it's Newtonian or Einsteinian. They both result in the same effects happening. So it's not like they can say, oh, it's not a force, therefore what's keeping the atmosphere on Earth No, because the relativistic description of it is going to result in exactly the same thing happening with the molecules of the atmosphere as it does in Newtonian physics anyway. So I don't know why they want to discard one or the other.
Well, I've
as far
always.
as,
You go, Blue. Sorry.
as far as we know, we can use Einsteinian relativity in every case. We've not found anything that it will not work for. We can use Newtonian physics in almost every case. Just in a few cases, it doesn't work. Okay? Is there a problem with that? It goes back to what you guys were saying earlier. Flat earthers have the worst habit of insisting that things have to be either black or white, on or off. But then what they fail to recognize is one simple overriding fact. We don't know everything about anything. That is a true statement. There is not one thing you could point to and say, I know everything there is to know about that. There's always some mystery buried in there someplace.
That's similar to the analogy that I like to use if it's correct or not. It's like going to the library and you look on the shelves and you see a dozen books on a certain subject because somebody's writing about it and that's what they write about. But then you go to another shelf and you only find one book about another subject, and that's all they know about it. In other words, they don't know a lot about that certain subject. And that's what I noticed with certain sciences.
Well, just with that pseudo force thing, I think it was gravity that may have explained it to me like this, or I overheard one of the other intellectually intelligent people in the community say it. When you're traveling in a car at high speed and you turn a corner really hard, you are still forced against that door. You're forced, you feel a force moving you. Now, that's a pseudo force. However, you still feel it. It still acts on your body. It's still doing stuff, even though it is a pseudo force. Just because.
Oh no, if it's got pseudo or fictitious in the name now, it can't be real. It's got to be in your head, right?
Obviously.
Well, it's because of the way they twist the language, and they try to use a word like fictitious to mean imaginary. Well, imaginary in the sense that it doesn't even exist. It's just in your mind.
Well, it's a bit like
it really does exist. I'm sorry, that force really does. It's an emergent force. You call it whatever you want to, but it's a necessary part of the universe. It just has to be. Forces appear in pairs. You can't get away from that fact.
Hads makes a good point in the live chat. He says QE's arguments are always semantic and merely expose the limitations of language to describe the physical world. His arguments reveal nothing about physics itself. Exactly. That's why we use math to describe these things, because math is a much better descriptive language than English when it comes to describing the phenomenon that we observe, right? But he seems to have like a mental block against using math, so I guess that's never going to happen.
Clearly.
Well, last time he tried to subtract it, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to let you finish your sentence.
Exclusive.
Oh, we all saw what happened the last time. The last time he tried to do subtraction by hand, we saw what came out of that. There's probably a good reason why QE stays away from math.
Fair.
The old 1, 2, drop a few, 99, 100.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point something out.
How long we got to go? Hey, Stingray.
Hello. I just wanted to point something out that I heard when you were talking about fictitious forces and things and misinterpretation. I absolutely think it's not just Essie and it's not just Chris, but when they read a definition about the Coriolis force to say that it's an apparent deflection, they think that, and I think Riley thinks this as well with space-time, the apparent bending of space-time. They think it's only ever a visual and not a physical effect.
Yeah, they bring up optical effects a lot. Like Coriolis is an optical illusion.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Essie
what?
stated that again
I mean,
yesterday. Yeah.
That is just ridiculous. It's amazing to me.
No, you're right.
No,
about
no, you're
that.
right. That's a good point.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah. I think they do. They think it's simply a visual effect, when in fact there's a very real force there.
That's like,
But we don't understand optics, so nothing can be known, right?
But I mean, I think a lot of the misinterpretation is they think it is optics. This fictitious force is because we visually see it in optics, and it's not really there. Because you get people like Brian's logic as well, saying the laser appears to move down, but it doesn't actually move down.
Yeah.
And it's like they think that all of these things beyond like a meter in front of their nose, some weird magic happens, and they interpret fictitious, synthetic, apparent as just this visual phenomenon that isn't really happening. And that is the freakiest world ever to live in. I'm pretty sure.
When they bring shit up like that, I ask them how Michael Bay manages to make movies if we don't understand optics.
Okay.
I'd just like to point out that Michael Bay doesn't make movies. He makes like hour-long action adverts.
Yeah. With lots of lens flare.
It wasn't a comment on the quality of his movies. I was just asking how he made them. We don't understand optics.
Okay.
One or the other, you can't be both. So, as I said, Newton proposed, he proposed an equation. Well, this is just a description, right? That's all it is. It doesn't give any explanations. However, okay, let's take a look at these. Newton proposed this equation. However, Cavendish proposed this 100 years later. Now, can you take a look at these? Are these different?
Stop. Kevin, no.
I knew that was coming.
Jesus Christ, read it, Huey. Read the Cavendish. Not one. Oh my God. That particular variant of the formula was by C.V. Boyd's 100 years after Cavendish, you dipshit. Come on, man. I'm sounding like Brian Leakey now. Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man. You're invoking Leakey.
Cavendish didn't do any such thing. Huey's just full of shit as usual. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm thinking so. Newton himself wasn't exactly married to the idea. In a letter to Dr. Richard Bentley on February 25th, 1692, Isaac Newton says, "'Tis inconceivable that an inanimate, brute matter should, without mediation of something else, which is not material, operate upon and affect other matter without mutual contact. That gravity should be innate, inherent, and essential to matter, so that one body can act upon another at a distance through a vacuum without mediation of anything else, by and through which their action or force may be conveyed from one to another, is to me so great an absurdity that I believe no man who has in philosophical matters a competent faculty of thinking can ever fall into." In other words, Sir Isaac Newton believes that if you believe in gravity, that you should be institutionalized. Okay, that's pretty clear.
No, stop. That is absolutely not what Newton was saying there. He was saying that, we see this phenomenon called gravity, but I have no idea how to explain why this thing, how it behaves like it does. I can predict it. I can do calculations, and I can predict falling objects and projectiles, and even the planets going around the sun with it. But I have no idea how it works. What Newton is basically saying is that that this works in some kind of magic way. I don't believe. There must be some cause to it. I don't know what the cause is, but anyone who believes that it works like magic should be institutionalized. That's basically what he was saying. He was being honest, saying this is what I've discovered, but I have no idea how it actually works. And that's the honest point. That's the honest position to take here. He was basically saying there are more things we need to discover about this.
Well, yeah, he's left out a significant part of that quotation.
Yeah.
And he's done this time and time again. Because Newton, as you're pointing out, said, look, this is what we see, and I believe it works this way, but I have no idea why. And for that reason, I do not want, and this is the key word, innate gravity ascribed to me. In other words, don't go telling people that I said it just happens because shit happens. Because I don't know why it happens. That's really what Newton was saying.
Yep.
Until
he was basically saying, he was basically saying, I believe that there should be something that mediates this force. I don't know what that something is.
And he goes on to say that he'll leave the explanation to his readers. That's the very last part of that statement of that letter. He says he'll leave the explanation for why gravity does what it does to his readers, and it turns out that one of his readers happened to be a guy named Einstein. So,
yeah.
So let's end this
you
Newtonian
have to read
Cavendish
that
gravity.
whole quote.
Pardon?
I said you have to read that whole quote. He's left out all the significant parts of it.
Yeah, I have seen.
Cherry picking out of a flurf? Say it ain't so.
Sorry, it's
I've got it somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Gravity before and quick. So
It's kind of like the one. It's the one they like to use a lot, where Einstein says there's no way to tell. There was context to what he said, but they cherry picked that one part about there's no way to tell if the Earth is moving or if everything else is moving from this.
Using it, they say there's using any optical phenomenon. But however, yes, we do have optical phenomenon that can do that now.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Einstein was wrong about all kinds of shit. He admitted that.
Yeah.
No, Einstein was specifically talking about Michelson-Morley.
What's
Yeah,
that?
that's the context of that quote. But they often just cherry pick that one single line, kind of like the Neil deGrasse Tyson line about that shit looks flat, y'all. But he's talking about, you're living on the ground and you don't elevate yourself, and it looks flat.
What does that quote come from? Where they say something about breaking the wand or something? Is that something different?
Snap
Oh,
the
that's
wand.
George Musser.
George Musser.
Yeah.
scientific community, wherever they are, we have some questions for them, by the way, doesn't follow Newtonian gravity. From George Musser, Scientific American, Einstein created his general theory of relativity, which provides our modern understanding of gravity, with the express purpose of expunging non-locality from physics. Isaac Newton's gravity acted at a distance as if by magic, and general relativity snapped the wand in two by showing that the curvature of space-time and not an invisible force gives rise to gravitational attraction. What are they talking about here? Not an invisible force. What's the juxtaposition? Well, the juxtaposition is between Newtonian gravity and Einsteinian gravity. Is this clear? So, bye-bye, Newton and Cavendish. So, now to Einstein. So relativity, that is special relativity and general relativity for gravity in this specific case, but I figured I'd take them both to the woodshed while I was here. Now remember, special relativity and general relativity are not actual scientific theories. They don't follow the scientific method. So, relativity, special relativity, and general relativity.
Scientific method.
Because he says so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the Pope of science, self-appointed arbiter of what is science, right?
Yeah. That's just irrelevant that the rest of the scientific community completely disagrees with him.
Well, not everybody can have the potato peeling expertise of questionable education. So, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
So it'd be a different
Well,
mechanism.
I would remind Quantum Eraser that Einstein himself, in his own words, in a letter to the London Times, dated November 28th, 1919, said, "Let no one suppose that the mighty work of Newton can be superseded by this or any other theory. His great and lucid ideas will retain their unique significance for all time as the foundation of our whole modern conceptual structure in the sphere of natural philosophy." That's Einstein's own words, QE.
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Speed versus gravity can dilate, bend, or warp time. Here's the primary school falsification. I don't even need to get into quantum mechanics falsification. I can stop right here. It's overkill after this. So, time is a conceptual relationship between two motions. Specifically, it's based on alleged single rotation of the Earth on its axis in respect to the sun, a day. It's a concept. It's non-physical. Time is without chemical formula, structure, dimensionality, orthogonality, direction, or location. You can't put some time in a jar and paint it red. I mean, come on now, let's
Wait.
together.
Time does have a direction. If time didn't have a direction, we'd be all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
Time is a steady march forward into the future. Like, what are you talking about?
And why is it one of the 7 fundamental units that we measure everything in?
And I'd also like to point out that I'd like to see him put electricity in a jar and paint it red.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'd like to see him put a magnetic field in a jar and paint it red too.
Or a photon.
Because they're all things that he said that were that were all part of this this great description that he was giving. He said electricity was one of them. So put that in a jar and paint it red.
I'd rather you painted it black.
Yeah, I saw a red door.
Yeah, paint it black.
Can you dilate, bend, or warp non-physical concepts? If you can do this, you need to change your vocation to carnival. Is it your contention that if you have poison ivy on the brain, you can scratch it by thinking of sandpaper?
Well, I mean,
freedom is
yes, you can. I mean, hold on for 1 second. So yeah, you can bend a magnetic field line, right? I mean, you can change the current running through, say a electromagnet, and you can change the field lines on that. A field line doesn't really have physicality without matter to follow that field line, right?
Yeah, and things like time dilation has been experimentally verified over and over again. So is the warping
I
of
forgot
space.
about that.
Yeah, so is the warping of space-time. It's been experimentally verified to an extremely high degree of accuracy. If anyone's ever heard of the Gaia satellites, that is something amazing. You should have a look into that.
I was about to say.
Hey Terry, we got some people in the audience who are saying that their brain hurts, and we need a palate cleanser to the Eldridge wants an update on Big Blue's Cavendish experiment to wash some of this derp out of his brain.
Don't worry, we only got another minute and a half.
We'll stop interrupting then. Okay, we'll muscle through it. We'll muscle through it. Grit your teeth and mute.
Yeah, we're nearly there.
Grit your teeth and mute.
What happened? Did I muck up something?
Terry's computer said no more derp 2.
Yeah, the computer doesn't even like it. I think we're up to here somewhere, so that'll do. I think I remember reading that word.
So if something, say,
I don't think the computer wants it either. What happened?
If you can do this, you need to change your vocation to carnival. Is it your contention that if you have poison ivy on the brain, you can scratch it by thinking of sandpaper?
That's where we're up to.
I mean, freedom is a concept too. Can you bend that? Moreover, that which you are using to measure isn't the thing that you're measuring. For example, a football field is 100 yards long, but a football field isn't yardsticks. If I bend a yardstick, does the football field bend also? So if something, say, affects its cesium atomic clocks, or any modern clock for that matter, does that ipso facto mean the Earth's alleged rotation in relation to the sun is affected? These two mathematical fairy tales, special relativity and general relativity, were falsified 30 seconds after their respective publications by third graders at recess. Each, in total, at best, at the very best, are massive reification fallacies on nuclear steroids. So, let's put the final death knell into this, and I'm sure everyone's going to be able to see this relatively quickly. So, Martin Rees, astronomer royale with cheese, esteemed British cosmologist and astrophysicist. What causes gravity and mass? These questions still baffle all of us. What? And we have everyone appealing to Newtonian or Einsteinian or combinations thereof? Why? According to Professor Rees, does mass attracting mass cause gravity? No, he's still baffled. According to Professor Rees, does space-time cause gravity? Nope. So why are we hearing this term gravity?
Stop. Right, he's misinterpreting what that guy said. He didn't say that he doesn't believe that that does not cause gravity. All the guy said was, we don't know. and that QE has interpreted as he thinks that it's not the cause. He's just a disingenuous asshole here.
What part of grit your teeth and we're going to muscle through this did you miss?
Yeah, no, keep going. More derp.
We're nearly there.
Appeal to it. Why? Can somebody tell me why? Therefore, gravity is merely a conjured term that describes an effect. It's not a cause. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, well, that's what we call a law.
Woo! Man, that was painful.
That's why we call it a law. QE. That's why we call it a law.
I might have to perform a reboot on myself.
I'm drinking whiskey right now in an attempt to drown out that pain.
It's a little early for me to start drinking alcohol, I feel.
Yeah.
Technically, it's really late for me, so.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Heads in the chat says QE likes ipso facto. Yeah, I think it's about time to shove my ipso right up his facto.
Make sure you wear protection when you do that, Blue. You don't want to catch anything like flurfies.
Yeah, do not want the flurfies.
No, my ipso is not one of my body parts.
Yeah, 12-pound ipso.
Stingray, you sitting in the dark handle without the light on?
Huh?
Well, his avatar's black, so I'm thinking he's sitting in the dark room like I do.
I sit in a dark room too.
Pip mentioned something about what is it, VJ Day? I didn't even know about anything about that, Pip, so...
It was 2 minutes science at 11, you forgot about it.
It was only officially the end of the Second World War.
Oh.
And what makes me laugh is over here in the UK, there was an awful lot of fuss about VE Day, and everybody was sat outside having little picnics, and it got bunting up and all sorts of shit. And I look out my window now, and there's nothing. Not a thing.
Wow.
So they celebrated the end of war in Europe. When it comes to the actual end of the Second World War, nothing. I suspect they're not even aware of what today is and what VJ Day is.
I put a link out earlier on. I don't know if anyone's seen it. The red arrows will be flying all over the UK today. So I'm hoping to see them about 2-ish going from Prestwick to Ireland. Hopefully they fly over me. But there's a list. I'll find it again. Put the link up. For MD in the UK might catch them.
You know, it reminds me, I should have checked to see if the Blue Angels were going to be doing any kind of shows around here.
Yeah, because they didn't put on their usual display for the British Grand Prix, because that's one of the highlights for me, because part of their display invariably seems to be coming over my house at an altitude of that's a bit close.
You mean you're glad that your TV antenna is not any taller?
There has been a couple of times when I have actually physically ducked. When you hear one of those hawks fly over the house, and you think, Jesus, that's going to take the roof off. Yeah.
Well, apparently they're refueling in Prestwick Airport, which is like 20 odd miles from me, and then going over to Ireland. So they should fly over me. Yeah, but Boggs, I'll see them after the refuel on their way to Ireland.
Yeah, it looks like the Blue Angels canceled all their shows for the rest of the year here in the States for COVID.
Just trying to see if they come anywhere near. Why didn't they just put up a sodding map instead of putting up times and places? Just put it on a map. I can't think where half these places are. Oh, hang on. The Shuttleworth and Peterborough.
Oh, yeah, Dean's fixed himself.
Oh, there he is.
Just wondering if I should move my premiere a quarter of an hour, just in case. If they're flying over Belfast at 2. Oh, no, I should see it before that.
So, Blue, how's the Cavendish experiment coming along?
Oh, it's coming along pretty well. I've got the big lead weights on order now. I should get those in a few weeks, I hope. I'm working on the, in fact, today I may put the torsion beam itself together. I've finally got all the parts and pieces, I think. Oh, yeah, that thing. Yeah. Yeah, I was just playing with it to see how stiff it actually was, given the fact that the damn little thing only weighs 113 grams at the moment. That's a very light piece of wood. It sags a little bit, but it won't when I get the wires on it.
How much sag are you having to account for right now?
Oh, it's I was just checking it. I was just curious what happens when you hang 2 pounds of lead on each end of that thing. What would it do? And that's what it would do if it didn't have the lateral wires on it. But once they're on there won't be any sag. It'll stay straight. That takes all of the load out of that beam. It puts all the load in compression. So the beam will just be in pure compression load. Maybe I'll be able to show a picture of that tomorrow.
Okay.
Or later today. I don't know.
Nice.
I thought we had we haven't got a basic diagram of it, really, have I? No. Only the one that you've got. No, the only drawing we've got your, what do you call it, drawing? What's that one?
I got an AutoCAD drawing of it.
Yeah, nice little drawing, that.
Let's see.
No, I think I might just miss the red arrows. I think they're a little bit too far east of me. Oh, well, never mind. There's always next year at the Grand Prix again.
Not seen it for years.
No, so I see them every year for the Grand Prix. So I'm trying to think how many times I've actually watched the Red Arrows do a display, and it's blimey, it's probably 30, 40 times, I would think.
What did Colin drop in Fair Suck? Which he's not supposed to.
Serious.
Any other vids? But he said just play the audio. I'll go and have a look what he's talking about.
Martin Rees, why would a feather ball and a lead ball fall at the same speed inside a vacuum?
Play the audio.
It's only about 30 seconds worth anyway, from the looks of it.
How can you just play the audio? Tell me.
I can do that.
Yeah, just don't actually show
Oh,
us.
right, yeah. I got you.
Do you want some secrets, do you?
No, I just clicked how you do it. I Don't show the bloody video. Oh God, I had a blonde moment.
Hey, I'm blonde.
Shh. Don't tell anyone.
Or a senior moment.
Yeah, and I'm almost a senior. Not
There
quite.
you go. You get no chance.
I'm a blonde senior. Geez, that
Oh,
goes
well,
down
you're
well.
screwed then, aren't you?
Yeah. We'll play. Blue's looking for something, so we'll play. This only goes. No, it goes for 13 minutes, 15 minutes. Is there a timestamp, or we have to play the whole lot, or?
From 1 minute 41 to 2
yeah.
minutes 10.
Okay, 141. Okay, 141. 141. Okay, that's 141 to 2 minutes
2 minutes 10.
10. Okay, that's not that long, really, is it? Okay. Okay, we'll make it 135, and that way it'll lead up to it. Here we go.
We can't predict the weather more than a few days ahead, which becomes chaotic. But in the case of gravity and the planets, we can understand it and we can predict it. And since Newton's work, we've understood that gravity applies not just in our solar system, but further beyond. Stars are in equilibrium because they're held together between two forces, the gravity, which is crushing them, and the pressure of their hot interiors is holding them up. And galaxies like our Milky Way galaxy, they are in equilibrium between...
That's that bit. That's the timestamp. Oh no, where am I going? Yeah, 2 minutes 16. I went from 1 minute 41 to 2 minutes 16. So just that section there.
Well, it didn't say anything about balls falling in the vacuum.
Where is it? What did Colin what was Colin saying about it then?
That's what he's saying, 141 to 210.
Yeah, I did that. He was just saying, that's all he said.
Are you sure,
chaotic.
Colin?
But in the case of gravity and the planets, we can understand it and we can predict it. And since Newton's work, we've understood that gravity applies not just in our solar system, but further beyond. Stars are in equilibrium because they're held together between two forces, the gravity, which is crushing them, and the pressure of their hot interiors is holding them up.
That's the exact timestamp.
Hmm.
Oh, Colin's in chat, Terry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I suspect we'll be getting the ding dong, or he's going to spook.
It's all right, we can hear you, Colin. You just have to answer.
I know.
There he is.
Where's he hiding?
He's in Discord.
Oh, he's over in
Harry, I'm
Discord.
coming through your voice, mate.
Oh, your voice is in my head again.
Yeah.
I have to go and see the doctor about that.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, so the
Scary.
reason why I just threw that clip at you guys is that is actually... Oh, God, we'll get... Whatever.
What?
What? Huh? Uh-oh.
He probably still had YouTube running so he could get feedback from it.
Yeah. Driving me nuts for a second, I just stopped it. Hopefully it'll sort itself out. Oh, boy. Okay, so the reason why I just threw that at you was that is actually Professor Reese explaining that he accepts gravity is causing the forces between stellar objects and is therefore understanding that gravity and time is a thing. Huey, when you quote mine, dude, you really must listen to everything the guy ever says, not just make shit.
Yeah.
But that would mean he's not quote mining or cherry picking.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Thanks, guys. I'll pop out again.
Okay, that's okay.
Thank you, Colon.
Hey, we got a Professor Phil in the chat. Haven't seen him in a minute.
Hi, Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Hello.
Oh.
Can I share my screen?
Can you?
Yeah, I can.
You
I'm
can.
just asking if it's okay to.
Yeah, of course it is, Blue.
Okay. Oh shit, that's ugly. Wait a minute.
Look at that.
What are you seeing?
The
see
plans
the
for the
Death
Death Star.
Death Star.
It's where Luke and Leia have to go in there and try to blow it up
Oh.
from the inside. I think. No.
Can you
Oh,
see
there's the
the drawing?
strings. Yeah, now I can
Yes.
see where they are. Yeah, I thought they were there.
Yep. There they go.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That red line. Those are the wires that'll actually be holding up those weights, which just means that beam no longer has any downward load on it. It's just being compressed. So that's how that thing works.
That's just
But I
holding
was
it.
doing it without.
Sorry. I was just going to say all the beam's doing is holding it outward. Would that be lateral? It's lateral positioning. Outward.
Yeah, in engineering jargon, you just call it a compression member. It's
Okay.
well, that's all it's doing. It doesn't have any bending force in it. It has all compression load. So it won't try to sag. There's nothing to make it sag unless you get too much compression force in it. And then it's liable to go up just as easily as down or sideways, you know. You put enough load on it, it will eventually turn itself into a pretzel. But
What would stop it from bowing the wood the other way?
In and out of the page, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm counting on good luck to stop that.
Okay.
That's scientific right there.
Yeah.
Well, these questions have to be asked each time we're doing an experiment. We have to think of all the variables.
So
luck is a concept. Can you bend it, Blue? I mean, can you bend what? Really? Freaking retard! Get out of here! Get this guy out of here, moderator.
Moderator.
So obviously, Blue, that's one of the reasons why, like, humidity wherever this is set up is somewhat important because of the effects that the moisture in the air could cause to that cross beam as well.
Yeah, all that wood is going to absorb or release moisture depending on what the relative humidity in the in its environment happens to be.
Blue, can I ask that you? Sorry, Blue.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, can I ask that you patch on an explanation when you eventually do this and you've completed it? Can you patch on an explanation for Brian Leaky Brain, and explain why this apparatus doesn't start spinning all by itself because of Coriolis, please?
I couldn't believe it when he said that the other day. It's like,
I know, right?
The derp is strong with brain leaks.
God. That was unbelievable.
Is that how it works? I'm just going to set up a pendulum now and watch it spin around in circles then.
Yeah, the Cavendish experiment must be false because the arms don't spin due to Coriolis. I think that's basically what he was trying to say. But
I think the upshot is he thinks that this apparatus and this experiment detects something so insignificantly small, as in obviously the attracting force laterally, that they absolutely should detect Coriolis.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And I think everybody else on
I'm-
the panel, and I think even a couple of flat earthers were basically like, "What? What did he just say? No, hang on a minute, that's not right."
That just leaves me completely speechless. I don't know.
It did for us as well.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that.
Can I see where your big balls are in comparison to your little balls on the image?
Yes, you can, right up here. See,
Oh, okay.
there's where the big balls are when they're on one side of this thing, and then when you spin it around, the big balls end up in the opposite quadrants, right? And there's the little
That's
balls.
how you know it's a male experiment.
Yeah,
It's got big balls.
and I may try it with some balls like some QE size balls, but they'll have to be like, really, really little balls, right? Right about.
Do you have precision measuring equipment that can detect something that small, Blue?
I was going to suggest that maybe Blue might want to go down to the local gun shop and buy some BBs.
So what tolerances are we looking at for the gap between the little ball and the big ball? How close they'll get? Because you got the wood. Because the wood's in the road. The wood's in the road for them to actually stop or touch.
Yeah, I can't quote that number right off the top of my head, but if you let that thing get over here as close as it possibly can, I don't know. There's maybe a 3/4 of an inch.
Can I ask a question, Blow? I found this amusing when I just thought of it, because this is a. By the way, I'm not serious. I'm going to caveat this with I'm not serious. But Blue, why? Can you explain to me why? If you just zoom back a little bit, we got the big blue ball there. Can you tell me why it's going to go towards the big blue ball and away from the big red one, and why it's not just going to stay in the middle? So I just had to do that. Sorry. I think your experiment's flawed. I don't think you've thought about this a lot, Blue. Sorry.
Yeah, you haven't thought this through all the way.
Yeah. What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Yeah.
I did do one
Somebody
slight
just can't
modification. I did do one slight modification to the Cavendish apparatus.
Stingray, you obviously don't know enough about physics, because the red one obviously being hot and the blue one being cold, the energy is going to be flowing from the red ball to the blue ball, so it'll go that way. It'll push the thing towards the blue ball, obviously.
Obviously, it's not gravity then, is it? Point proved. There we go.
The force of temperature. What are we looking at there? Force of cold.
One of the points Cavendish made was that quite by accident, and I think he basically says he essentially says I wasn't really thinking about it. He set it up so that the radius of that beam that these large masses are suspended from was coincident with the center line of those small masses, right? But if you do that, it pulls the big masses when they're close to the cabinet back this direction, back to the right. So you're not directly in line, like I've got it right now. That center line is lined up with this center line when the large mass is in that position. So the attraction is directly toward the thing, not back at some angle. So Cavendish sort of, I don't know why. It would have been an easy thing for him to change, other than the fact that these friggin' things he used were 350 pounds apiece.
But
maybe
Blue,
that's
just
what
really,
stopped him from modifying it. But
Blue, really quick question. But so in your difference now, does that not mean that the attracting force gets stronger the closer that it gets, whereas yours won't increase at the same. Yours will still get stronger, but it won't increase at the same rate, will it?
what'll happen is I won't have to do a correction that he had to do. He had to put a correction in his calculations for that anomaly,
Right.
and I won't have to apply that correction. That's all it means.
Cool.
Yeah.
I
I've done
still
a few
think
of them.
it's going to go towards a red ball if I'm being serious, but
Yeah, I think you could be
red's
right.
a
We're
more
going to find out.
dominant color than that turquoise or whatever that is that you've got there.
Okay, I quit.
That's cyan.
You could always put makeup on the ball to make it more attractive. It was a
I'm
play
just
on
waiting
words.
for
It
the
was a
pig
play
joke
on.
now.
Oh, I know it was a play on words, but it didn't work.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've gone through that. We've gone through that. Anything else we got? Got a couple of minutes spare before we ask for media derp and stuff type things.
I've got some that I've done that I want to show people that I'm offering to give to flat earthers and any. I'm because I can't be asked with flat Earth anymore that much. I'm going to offer. I said to Conspiracy Cats last night, he can have all my. If he learns Blender, and he doesn't need to learn it a lot, and I've said this to Blue as well. But if you learn Blender and you're a flat Earth debunker, or you're a flat Earther wanting to disprove the globe, I'll just send you all my example models, and you tell me what's wrong with them and why they don't really work. And my latest one I really like because it's a visual thing. It's you don't have to calculate anything. And I'll share this right now. And I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go on Cats and go through some of them with him. But then I'm just going to give them to like Bob or Blue or anybody really. But what we have here is we have my house. That's my house. And we have a very simple days of the month, months of the year, sorry, and days of the months. And where are we at the moment? We're just mid-September, August. So what I can do is I can come down here and grab this lovely little globe and rotate it based on where the sun is and see what happens to the shadow through my day. And then look outside and see that it actually matches the same. And that's because we're on a damn planet, ladies and gentlemen. But I'll send this file to anybody that wants it, and you can put your own house in here. So long as you, obviously, unlike Ranty, you realize that north is at this angle because of the tilt of the Earth, not straight up.
Yeah.
Which was also because there was a wait a minute, this was funny. The Ozzie cam, they couldn't understand. They couldn't understand the where was
Shadow.
it in?
Yeah, we were doing this the other day, Dean, trying to work out. Somebody copied Flat Earth data, had a CAD drawing of the sunrise and sunset in.
Oh, I went on there, Terry. I went on there and I ripped him a new one. B-Ball said, "Oh, look at what Flat Earth data is doing on Ranters," and I just went on there and ripped him a new one and said, "Look, I'll do it live as well. Sod it. This is it, and it matches exactly." But what I had Ranty doing was I was saying, "Look, this is the sun. That's the shadow of the stick in
Perth.
Perth, yeah. It's really easy to look at this in Australian winter time, our northern hemisphere summer.
Yeah.
And what Flat Earth data was doing to say that it wasn't matching was the most extreme derp ever. You see this little toggle here? This allows me to either globally or locally rotate. Now, what that means is when I give this planet a tilt of 23.4 degrees, it's actually, 23.4. What he was actually doing then was he was taking a rotation and rotating it in a global sense rather than a local. So he was actually, in the course of a day, he was actually changing where the relative
su-
position would
from-
be
from summer to winter.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
all within the course of a day.
Okay.
And I'm there, and I even went on to Rantis and said, "No,
No.
shit. Look, this is what you do." And I did have a go at him.
Yeah.
I really did have a go at him.
That
Hey,
makes more
I said,
sense.
Stingray.
Look, it works. It works perfectly.
That makes more sense now when you put it that way.
Stingray, I might be doing an observation at the moment that that would be really handy to utilize.
Yeah, you can. Like I say, anybody that wants to debunk flat Earth, or even a flat earther that wants to just put their house on this. So I've got and you don't need to know Blender that much. Because I'm going to be less involved in this flat Earth crap, really. But my house is here, and I can tell you that when I do this in my morning, which is here, that's exactly right. That's where the shadow is on my house and my garden, and it just matches perfectly. And I cannot get this.
But you can't
on a flat Earth.
But you can't say what you're doing here is flat Earth stuff. To me, this is just knowledge that we'd like to share and talk about how things work.
Yeah, well, what I've got is we can put this exact same experiment, this exact same observation and setup on a flat Earth and see where it works. Now, the odd thing is, besides the one thing that won't work is what this can do if you do it to scale, is it will tell you the length of the shadow as well if you want to measure it, which is fine. You can't get that on flat Earth, but you can get this angle on flat Earth. But the change through the day will be wrong. But the best observation here, Terry, is when like Blue gives me the orientation of his house and the approximate 1 mile or 2 mile GPS coordinates. I can put his house in here, and at a single moment in time, we can see what angle is shadow at compared to our houses. And we can go to a month and an approximate day, and say, cool, my sunrise does this. Let's have a look at what yours does, and then look outside and go, oh my God, yes, it's accurate. But any flat earther can do this as well. But when you do the same thing on a flat Earth map, and you don't need continent sizes, you just need it's flat and the sun doesn't orbit in a plausible circle around a flat plane. Find a place where those two houses match in one moment in time, and then fast forward 3 hours and measure it against reality, and you realize they don't match. But if you did them on a planet, they do match. If you do them on this, and that's why I say any debunker can have any of my files now. I don't care, and use them. And I think I'll go on Conspiracy Cats in about a week or so and take him through some of these, and he can use them as well, because I've got way too many, and I don't care that much enough anymore.
That's handy to have that sort of thing, because that gives the good representation or visual representation.
So I might be, and I may have started back during the winter equinox, for Australia, that is. So Northern Hemisphere's summer equinox, and I've been taking observational photos of the sunset from the top of a local mountain, and then doing the comparison of using Peak Finder so that I can get the angle of the sunset using the relative peaks in the photo, and then doing the cross referencing of that to timeanddate.com and the solar calculator. So, and then I've transcribed that onto, I've used a AE map, a flat Earth, the world map, as in, just the rectangle one that you'd normally see on a school wall, and also putting that on a globe to show how they all work but don't work on any of the flat style maps.
Would it be possible, or is it possible to do what you just did there, Dean, but actually reformat it into a different program with just a few functional changes that you could do manually without someone having the whole program?
Yes, we would call that custom development. It would go on a Upwork site, and you'd get a few developers bidding on it for you, and it would probably take them a week or two, and you'd be paying developer rates. The easiest thing to do is just learn Blender to the point where you can just navigate around and move the timeline and select objects and rotate things, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't need to use any of the other things.
No.
So the fact that you drive around in a car, a limited slip differential is a very complex mechanism when you think about it. Well, actually, it's not, but to understand it is. Do you need to understand it to drive a car? No. So just use same thing with Blender. Just use it to navigate around, select things, be able to zoom into them, zoom out. To use it in an illustration purpose is not the same as building something and texturing it and lighting it and all that kind of crap. So just like I said to Conspiracy Cats last night, is going to download Blender. And I said, just download it. You need to spend you'll learn it in about 20 minutes, the amount that you need to learn to be able to demonstrate these files. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's cool, okay. You got anything for us, Paul?
I certainly do.
Oh, Dean hasn't been here for the media derp, whatever stuff.
Okay. It's derpy today.
How else would we have it?
Yeah. Can you see what I've got to present to you today? Why would you have your number plate on your car like this?
What, the car's got it?
Yeah. Oh dear.
The car's got it, has it? Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get into that car, hey?
Yeah.
So today's it's all about what people choose to put on their number plates. And why. I mean, this one, he's got something to say to other people that drive around him, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very subtle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cute. That's cute right there.
I like that one.
Is it in purple?
There's quite a few good ones from Virginia. They must be different thinking people there. Flerfus should be bidding for this one.
Yeah.
Good boy industry.
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Oh,
no.
Won't go near that car.
The Family and Children's Trust Fund of Virginia. Yes, that's a real family thing,
Yeah.
that, isn't it? Facting.
That's
Yeah.
appropriate.
Yeah.
That car's got balls.
Yeah.
Balls out.
But they're blue, so I don't know. Nice.
I'm British.
Oh.
That's not allowed.
He found it.
We finally found
Yeah.
it. My bloody hamper.
That's so wrong.
That's creative.
Yeah. Oh dear. I like this one for a police car.
Yep. That's accurate.
Yeah. And I wonder why he gets pulled over all the time, hey?
Yeah, that's advertising. That's asking for it.
Yeah.
What
up?
on a Tesla.
Yes. Had to
And
be.
Virginia again.
That's perfect.
That's clever.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of dates.
Yeah, don't get a lift off him.
There's an Aussie number plate.
Yeah. If it's on his L's, it'd be Lizov, though.
That is true. That is
One of
true.
those smart cars. I think.
Yeah, those new minis aren't minis. They're not that crammed.
No, they're not
No.
mini.
Overrated.
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 Nice.
This is
Yeah.
giving me ideas for what I can put on my number plate because I got personalised number plates.
Okay. Check.
Okay.
Queensland, I got a peek.
Okay, which one are we going to go for then out of all this?
Yeah. I am late.
There you go, Terry. Perfect for you.
Yeah.
The number plate officer.
Echo Sama.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice the period at first. I was like, Osama? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Oh,
I like this one. This one's my favourite. Notice it's the Metro Rod drain, clean and repair.
That's clever.
Oh, I like that.
That's the only personalised kind of place you can have. You can't actually have.
Gas sucks.
Nice.
Biatch.
I'm definitely not having that number plate. Oh, I could have that one.
Boobs.
Classic. Hey,
I hate people. Vegetarian, obviously.
Yeah.
There, you going to have that one, Terry?
No, I don't think so. I'm too old for that shit.
No. What about that one?
you could put a W in front of it.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. Yeah. What about this one, Terry?
I'll take two, please.
Yeah.
One for the road.
Yeah. Mr. Weed.
Oh, is that Grim V's license plate?
Yeah,
No,
it
he'd have
must
to have
be.
a car.
Yeah, it may be. Haven't heard from him for a while.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
No, he's all tied up with his T-shirt.
What's the phone number?
Car sick.
With the green.
What? I don't get it. Why would you want to put pen 15 on your number plate?
No, I got no idea.
Don't get that.
Don't
either.
get that one. No.
That's very
Yeah.
obscure.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one for Mad B.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this one.
Oh,
No, it's not a car.
that's
It's
awesome.
a DeLorean. Yeah.
No, that's class.
Yeah.
That is classy.
Yeah.
One.
Oh, this is my favorite.
Oh, that's good.
Vlad the Impala.
You planned ahead for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I go to HTO.
Fair enough.
Another COVID-19. Yeah.
The Irish.
But does some of those look a little photoshopped on there? I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
the
that's
British
what
ones
the
you can't really have words on them.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know how Sleeping Warrior.
In fact, in the UK, they go through the registrations and take out ones that are potentially rude and obscene, and
Yeah, they do
don't
that here
actually
too.
release them.
Hmm.
Miserable
That's
buggers.
cute.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't be able to have that on a
see,
number
that would
plate
never
over here.
make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to buy that in the UK. That's the sort of thing they look at that sort of thing. If you put
Otherwise, it's UK number plate. But
Oh, now when you zoom in, it's FIJ. Okay.
Correct.
So, yeah.
But
Yeah.
that sort of
I-
thing, when
Yeah.
they're looking at number plates, particularly when they've got the next batch of number plates coming out, they will remove ones that you can do things like that with to stop people.
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
British, British again.
Perhaps Professor Phil will have this one.
What are you trying to say? Your mum. This one's for your mum.
This one, I like this one too. They've got two cars in their family. One is 2B and the other one's not 2B.
No, that's good. I like that.
That is cute.
Yeah.
But where is that at where it's just a yellow band with no other identifying markers on
I
it?
don't know.
Oh, they don't have any kind of like decals or anything on their license plates?
On UK
No,
ones?
we don't.
No.
Okay, that's why some of them
British number plates don't have to have anything else on them other than the numbers and letters.
Yeah.
Minion, little yellow
Minion.
cow, that's cute.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for those movies. Roll Tide, baby.
Asshole.
My neck of the woods.
Hi, officer. Well, good morning, Judge. Look, we're back again.
Are you a
MILF?
You
go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And we're back to the start. There you go.
Oh, thanks.
That's your lot for today.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Bit of comic relief after the dirt we had.
There was a Saab dealer in Cambridge.
I don't think I
Don't
could
tell.
pick any of those number plates. I'll just have to think of my own.
There was a Saab dealer in Cambridge back in the 90s, and they had 5 AAB. And there was
Why not?
Saab. No, with the Saab dealership, and they put it on their cars. 5 AAB, and there was a Ferrari. Can't remember which Ferrari it was, but it had GO41T. Go for it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he had it spaced out properly and everything. But yeah, that was God. I can't remember what bloody sort it was. Not that it really matters because they're all bloody quick cars. But yeah, see that around. I saw that around quite a few times. Go for it. So sometimes they work, and other times you sort of look at them and you think, is that supposed to say something? You know, they're sort of nearly there, but not quite.
Yeah, like
Wasn't there a game show back in the day where that was one of the games that they played where you tried to guess the word based on numbers and letters? What was that game show?
My story with the number plates is back in '95, back in '95 I think it was, when they were first bringing out the computer test for your driving license, and they had the computer down here at the shopping mall, and the test you could sit down and play the test, use the test what they used to get your license with as a practice, and your name went into a draw to win privatised number plates when they first were going to come out. So I won that and got some number plates. So, but I couldn't work out what to write to get a personalised number plates wording. So what I used was just something basic, and I've been waiting to change it one day. I just hadn't got around to it.
What did you end up using?
I can't say that. That'd be doxing myself.
Oh, good call.
Yeah. I can show you privately, but without showing people out there. Oh. So do we have any questions tonight?
Hey, Stewie.
If anyone's interested, apparently it's shite. I've got a quiz here if you want it.
Oh, I'm always up for a good quiz.
You don't want me to do it, I won't do it, but up to you.
No. Love it.
Oh, we
Well,
got
you know my
time.
theory on that, Pip.
I love them. I just can't type quick enough.
Yeah, I know.
Or
I don't know
spell.
whether to make them hard or easy, because you make them too easy, and there's a few of us that agree that it ends up being like a typing contest. But then again, if you make them too hard,
Well, this is kind of intermediate.
Decisions.
It's difficult science, but it's not that difficult. And there's only 20 questions, and I probably won't do them all.
20 is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Press Pip, please.
Press Pip, please.
Oh, no name hasn't done this before.
No name, you type your answers in the internal chat.
Okie doke.
And you
shout
keep
them
your
out.
mouth
And
closed.
don't shout them out because
No, I've done quizzes on here before.
oh well.
Have you? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's been a
Okay.
minute, but yeah.
Question 1. To the nearest foot, the average human small intestine is how long?
To
the nearest foot.
Oh God, I'm trying to remember what it is.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah, same here.
The only says it's time for guess what she said in Scottish.
Well, I heard something about a foot and inches and intestines.
To the nearest foot, the average human small intestine measures at what length? Someone in here is pretty close.
I'm sharing a picture internally while we're doing this, so I'm not distracted anymore.
All right.
Because people wanted to know what it was.
Okay. I'm going to give it to Habs and Paul, I think. It's actually 17 feet.
All right.
Who said 17?
Nobody.
It's whoever got closest.
Paul says 15.
15, yeah.
Definitely
Oh.
not
Nobody
6
do that one because that's ridiculous. Right.
I was on the right track. I got to 20, so. So he's finished.
33 because
you finished looking at the back of my car in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, thanks.
The United States conducted its first and only nuclear artillery test in what US state in 1953?
Whoa. We're getting too...
We're either all right or all wrong.
Yeah.
Carl Edwards and Mippet, well done, Nevada.
Woohoo!
Hey, well done.
What metal constitute most of a penny? And I'm guessing it's an American penny.
I'm probably wrong. Who did I go with? Oh, yeah, I went with a few people. No names has to be different.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the wrong currency. No, seriously, like they're almost all sandwiches nowadays. So.
Yeah, why do you Americans still have the penny? We got rid of the 1 cent and 2 cent pieces years ago.
There's been a lot of push to do it over the past few years, but
We have one correct answer in here.
the way our U.S. mint works
There
is
you
our
go.
hard coinage is the only thing that actually has any intrinsic value, and the dollars all have are IOUs. So that's my understanding of it. But it actually costs more to produce a penny than it's worth. So.
No. Nobody's got it out there.
And you have to get rid of that monopoly money as well.
Okay, can't wait all day. Nobody's got it out there. No name was right. Zinc.
Well, there you go. No name? Yeah, you thought you were wrong.
No, I mean, I knew it was a sandwich. I didn't know if it was zinc in the middle. Like a lot of our currency has zinc in the middle. So.
Oh. Okay. How many of the 5 dwarf planets in our solar system orbit inside the orbit of Neptune? It's just a number. How many of the 5 dwarf planets in our solar system consistently orbit inside the orbit of Neptune?
Yeah, between 1 and 5.
I think
isn't
I'm
it?
wrong.
No
Yeah.
And it doesn't tell me what one.
So we just got to pick a number
2.
between 1 and 5.
Yeah.
Oh, Blue's been tricky.
Mm.
I just told you.
You thinking outside the square or the circle, Blue?
Nobody's listening.
No, I didn't hear you, Pip.
I heard you, Pip.
I said it doesn't tell me which one.
Ah.
Too late, Dean. I've already got it.
Yeah.
Yay, Fred, not well done. First person to date one gets it. Fred and Paul got it in here without a clue. Well done. Does anyone know which one it happens to be? Is it Ceres
No.
or Pluto?
Anybody want to guess?
Pluto.
It is Pluto, right?
Oh, okay.
Must be Ceres, because Ceres is well inside the orbit of Neptune.
It's
They're
said
sleepy or
consistently.
sleazy.
Okay. A giant squid features how many appendages?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me and Peter and Blue are going for the same.
Yeah, I was going to type that. I accidentally hit shift instead.
We have the correct answer out there. And finally, well done, Dean. And Carl Edwards, a giant squid, has 10 appendages.
I just realised it has 8 legs and then 2 different receptory
two
things.
graspers.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. That's why I went, oh crap, 10! No.
The name ambush refers to what group of jungle animals?
I don't know. Oh, jungle. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, group.
Yeah,
Is that
me
a-
and Farmer's Boy.
Dean, is that an actual animal?
No.
No.
Well, it could be an undiscovered species, the bushy armadillo. I don't know.
I don't know why, but I immediately think of a bar when I see that name. Welcome to the Bushy Armadillo.
The bushy armadillo is more, it's more plausible than leopards or whatever they are. Jesus.
Leopard.
Yeah.
Leopard. Yeah, John Rapp got it. It's an ambush of tigers.
Oh.
Okay.
Jungle.
Went for the wrong big cat. I knew it was a
Yeah.
big cat.
Okay. What country produced space travelers known as taikonauts? CAI.
Which country? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Christ knows.
I don't know.
That's obviously too
well done.
logical.
Dean and Brainery, well done. It's China.
Yeah, I was going to
Where is
go.
Olympus?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, now we know where they got their test pilots from.
Made in Taiwan.
Where is Olympus Mons?
Oh, I know that one. Oh, if my damn thing would work.
I believe it's the biggest known volcano in the solar
It
system.
says that, but I can't be bothered reading it all. It says Olympus Mons represents the largest volcano in what location?
Okay.
Farmer's Boy and Fred Bailey are first. Well done, Mars.
Yeah, Fred Knotts and I and Brainery went the wrong way.
Get your ass to Mars.
Inside Flight Microsoft Sim 2020.
Yeah, it's coming out in 4 days' time, and it'll definitely be in that. So I am not wrong.
Okay.
Let me guess, you'll be landing a drone on it.
I'll be landing a 747 on it. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Right. Oh, I've lost it. Hang on. What lunar phase occurs when more than half the moon, but less than a full moon, appears in the sky?
Oh. Damn it. If I just left out that one word, I would have beat JJ.
Oh, we're pretty lenient here, No Name. If you got most of it, it's okay.
Okay, Brainery and Paul, well done. It's gibbous. You didn't need anything.
I go with Blue's answer.
What did he put?
G.
They'll accept that.
Yeah. Go for gibbous.
Do we have to? Well, would we? You say you're pretty lenient. Would we have had to spell it correctly, or
No.
something?
No.
We could have letters in different orders or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I don't care about
Right?
I've got this now. I have got this.
I mean, when we say we're leaning on spelling, you still got to be able to sort of get the general gist of it.
Yes, Dean.
It's in there if you look really hard.
Yes, Dean. You can't just type out any
You're bad
letters.
at navigating my words.
See it. No, you left out a B.
Yeah, I don't need all the B's. One's there. It's straight. It's after A. Look.
Even just type the whole
You can't just type out random letters and expect us to believe it.
So you do realise, Stingray, that means you have to you have to type out the alphabet every single time now.
Yeah, I'm gonna win though, right?
Copy and paste.
Oh God, it lost again. Right. Okay. Most scholars credit Joseph Henry with the invention of what in 1831?
Don't remember that one.
Never heard of him.
Who?
Joseph Henry,
Oh, yes.
1831.
Oh, wrong Henry. Sorry.
Not Henry Ford.
I like how you're thinking, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that came later. Much later.
Yeah, that was.
Talking of coming later.
It was pneumatic. You had to turn a crank on it. It was primitive.
Clockwork.
No, you had to kickstart it. As a member of an old gang, she used to say she had rolled her own tampons and kick-started her vibrator.
Oh. Okay, I don't think anyone's going to get it. Oh, Phil says everyone is too damn smart in this chat. I'd better go to a Flair chat. He invented the telegraph.
Oh, we should have known that. We should have known that.
He was
I
the
bet you
original
Alan would have known
telegram
that. Alan would have known
He
that.
probably would.
Alan.
Yeah. Alan.
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 Steve. Steve.
Steve.
Yeah, Hads.
The name of
That was me, Hads. I was making a cuppa.
The name of what disease stems from the medieval Italian for bad air? I've had this before, I think.
Huh?
The name of what disease stems from the medieval Italian for bad air?
Oh, come on, stupid keyboard. And if it,
Oh, that could be it, yeah.
Yep, well done, Carl Edwards. You're the only one that got it. It's malaria. Malaria.
Oh.
Oh, there you go.
I was thinking asthma too, because miasma, isn't that bad air?
No, malaria is.
Okay.
An orthopedic doctor treats what part of the body?
What is wrong with my keyboard?
got a really weird user at the operating end of it.
Oh yeah.
It's the human interface element.
Fred and Paul are correct with bones.
Well, I was there.
I said joints.
I said joints too.
Bones.
Well, I said joinra first. But.
Yeah, joinra. Is that similar to Mothra?
It is. It is. They're very, very closely associated in the Godzilla canon.
It comes out with the next Godzilla movie.
Ah, right.
Okay, this is quite a long question. So listen, I shall go slowly. What mammal possesses fingerprints closest in shape to those of humans, to the point where they appear relatively identical under an electron microscope?
Yeah.
And I had no idea about this.
Farmer went the same as me.
Mm.
Wow. Someone is correct.
Well, they're the closest. They're the closest genetically, aren't they?
Yep, but it's not that.
Oh well.
What? What's that?
It's
Canadian.
definitely not chimps.
Well, I can't change it now. I mean, I can,
well
but
done, Pads. Pads and Mippet. Well done. It's a koala.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
There you go. Live and learn.
So when we get a burglary and they get the fingerprints off the,
The koala.
They've
it could have been the koala
they have
done it.
been mistaken. Yeah, they actually have been mistaken at crime scenes for human fingerprints.
Blimey. Bloody drop bears.
Oh, I now understand why Australian police have such a high closure rate.
We'll just blame the koalas again. It's all good.
You're cheating. It's that simple. You're just cheating.
Yeah.
Hey, Johnny, just put it down to the koalas again. It's all right.
Case closed.
Yeah, the koala did it.
Wasn't a dingo at all.
Okay, next. The definition of what metal reads as a ferrous alloy with a minimum 10% chromium content.
What? I couldn't understand the question.
Yes.
The definition of what metal reads as a ferrous alloy with a minimum 10% chromium content.
I point out, I think Blue cheated there.
No.
If I can't use the alphabet, he can't use abbreviations like that.
Irish
No.
dude and blue.
That could stand for slithery snake.
I think you knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Irish dude and blue are correct. Stainless steel.
Ah.
That one's too easy, and that one's just ridiculous. Which one of Snow White's 7 dwarfs most likely suffers from aphasia? Is that a dwarf?
I don't care what the real answer is. I'm going to go with that one.
They've actually got a different. I'm disagreeing with their answer because that's wrong. That's not what that means. Carl Edwards and Blue. Well done. Sleepy, but I have got dopey, what's that got to do with aphasia? I don't know.
Nothing at all.
Tails that can grasp or hold objects go by what name?
What?
Tails that can grab onto things that go by what name?
Oh. Well, it's too late. Damn it.
Yeah.
You can still put your answer in, just because we typed first.
Yeah, somebody might be wrong and you might be right.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, I know it's the right answer.
Oh.
Bread knots and farmers. Prehensile. Okay, last one.
Okay.
What sieve-like structure sits in the upper jaw of a plankton-eating whale?
Oh.
I don't know where some of these questions come from.
Yeah, wait a minute, Chris. Baylebe. What? You can't
Damn
have
it.
that.
It's this stupid phone keyboard. Every time I try to type something, it auto-corrupts it into something else.
Carl Edwards and Farmer's Boy are correct. It's Baleen. There you go.
Oh, I was close.
Thank you, Kip.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
There we
Thanks,
go.
Pip. That was fun.
Okay, add your scores up. See who was the smarty.
I wasn't really.
Who was
I
out
think
in the
Carl
peanut
out
gallery? I
there.
didn't. Carl, you think?
I think it was Carl.
I still reckon Horny's the best answer all night.
I agree.
Carl got
I
two.
started-
Carl said he
Carl
only
got
got
two.
two.
Kaz might have got two as well.
I'll be honest, no name. As
Fred
soon as
not.
she said
Fred
seven dwarfs, that was the first thing I started typing.
Ed's got a few as well.
Fred got two. Yeah.
Between Kaz and Fred.
Farmer said he got 7.
Yep.
I made it all the way to whoa.
2, I think you got Blue.
You and me in the same boat, Blue. Don't worry.
Oh.
Have we got a story, Blue?
Yeah.
Pip?
I've got Wednesday's one. I don't know if you've done it. No, you can't have done it.
No, we haven't.
No, because
No.
that came out after, didn't it?
That's right.
Okay.
Oh no, wait a minute, did it?
I know I did one Wednesday.
Yeah, you did it.
I did
Oh,
it?
no.
Oh, that's right, because that came out Wednesday morning, didn't it?
No, you can just pick anything random. You bound to have missed some.
This thing? Okay, I'll have a look.
103.
Alright, I'll have a look.
You don't mind a replay?
Yeah, I'll
Premier
go
today.
to your channel. There you go. I'll share it in here. That way the peanuts don't know what we're doing. Go to videos. There we go. Alright, so the brother, that one. That's that one. I better set the reminder.
Well, there you go. You've watched them.
That's 11 p.m.
Oh, the brothers today.
Yeah, that'll be in another couple hours for me, or hour and a half. Lost luggage. I don't know if we did the lost luggage. Anyone remember lost luggage?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a Wednesday one. I tend to upload Wednesdays and Saturdays.
The people next door. Remember that one?
That's a long one. That's a bit.
No, we'll do the people next door because I don't remember that one.
Okay, that would have been a premiere last week, 2 weeks ago.
Okay, we'll put that on the list. I think.
Oh, you haven't watched.
Which one?
We really
Oh,
should.
Fred, that sounds like a plan right there.
We
You haven't done inflated lighting.
I thought we did that one.
No, you wouldn't do it because of the name.
Yeah, I don't know if the missus actually watches my live streams.
Foul or wrong?
You're helping too, aren't you, just by looking?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at the ones that haven't got the red lines under it, Terry.
Oh,
I'd
that
be
what
choosing
they
one
are.
of them.
Yeah, but they're my live streams, those ones. Oh, okay, they've got a line under it. Okay. Yeah, but that one's only
means
got a
you've watched
part
it.
line.
Well, that means you only watch part of it.
No, we'll do that one then. It's short. I wrote it.
Okay, we'll leave that. We'll put that aside. Now I'll just grab some other videos. You can talk amongst yourselves. Anything you want to talk about for now? Any peanuts got any questions or information or announcements? Anything? And you said you were doing a live stream with somebody, Stingray. Coming up.
I think it's in the works. They were discussing it last night.
Okay, what have we got here? We've got slide, did some laser test stuff. Who else have we got here? B-Ball, Logical, 5. Fight the Flutter, Andrew Petrov. How long does he go? He's usually go for about 10 minutes. That one goes for 9 minutes. 33-year-old neutron star is hiding inside the supernova. What else we got? Oh, yeah, I'll definitely have to, how long does that go for? Ah, shit. Goes for 3 hours. Can't have that.
You can't do someone else's stream, Terry.
Yeah, I know. But it's got the information in it. Look, I'll share. Oh, I can't share that way. It's that one with the MAGE from Mr. Sensitive.
Oh. Yeah. Well, no, that was the after show. So he did his live stream. I mean, he did his premiere first, and then he did that stream afterwards.
Okay, we might play.
So if you play the one just
I've got
before that.
Yeah, I might play that. That goes for 10 minutes. Pips goes for only a minute and a half. That's not very long. Okay, so we can. I'll grab Mr. Sensitive. Okay, leave him there, and I'll see if I can find. Yep. Don't play it yet. I don't want you to play. Stay there. Anyone else got anything quick? Quick. My man Dan, what's he got? That goes for 18 minutes. Well, that's a long one, Simon. Where's Wally? Sleeping Warrior adds more fail to Mitchell from Australia. How long does that go for? 4 minutes. Okay, we might.
Yeah, it's not a very long one.
Yeah, that's
Did
a
you
roll.
play my last one, Terry?
Oh, no.
You can't in this one.
Yeah, it should be here. I haven't gone past it.
PhD Tony's in the side chat.
Oh, is he? Hey, Tony.
Yeah. Hello, Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Tony.
How far back have I
Tony.
got? I'm scrolling.
Hi, Tony.
I'm scrolling. Where is it?
Scrolling.
Pip, did you put your Discord link in the chat earlier on? Because I wanted to say, everyone, movie night on a Monday night, cool fun. Come and join.
I will stick to it again.
Oh, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's Rocky Horror this week.
It's winning at the moment.
I took my daughter to see that, like one of those live performances when she was about 12 or 13, and she had such a good time that she started going back on her own with friends after that. So I feel like I've, passed it on to the next generation successfully.
I've been to the Rocky Horror show about 5 or 6 times, and about 3 Shadowcast shows, and I watched it like a million times.
Have you ever been to a live showing of it where people dress up and throw things?
That's like the Shadow. It's called the Shadowcast when they play the movie, but there's like a Shadowcast acting it out as well, and absolutely amazing.
Blue, is it episode 4?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
There is a picture around somewhere of me dressed up as Magenta and me dressed up as
There, I'll pause it there just to
Magenta.
double check.
So sussies and feather boas are mandatory.
August 10th I got here, so that's 5 days ago now.
Yeah, that's it. That's the last one I made.
Righto. Okay.
Now.
Okay, we ready? That's it.
Press play, please.
Oh, sure, you don't know what you're missing.
What's Professor Tony up to lately? He hasn't said anything. Oh, can't hear it if it's muted.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of the Cavendish Experiment. Well, the enclosure is complete, and I thought I'd show you guys some pictures. So, you ready? Here we go.
Three band-aids.
How much was that in the swear jar?
$27.
That's cute. That's the truth.
Like being in a silent movie.
That's a work of art in itself, that mechanism.
Should be banjo music, Blue.
Pretty wood.
Hey, thanks for watching.
That was great.
Keep an eye on the comments section. I post updates in there from time to time. There's more to come. Hey, do me a favor. Hit one of those little buttons down there. Try the like button. And if you haven't done it already, please subscribe to the channel. Special shout out to the patrons and the PayPals. You're the guys that made this possible. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah, no kidding, Terry. That's a work of art right there, Blue.
Yeah.
Now, did you make sure to use non-ferromagnetic wood, though?
I did. I checked every bit of it.
Good deal.
Not one single refrigerator magnet will stick to that thing. Not a one. Well, you can stick it to that top, parts of that top icky you can stick it to, but Yeah, there's some ferrous metal up there, but that's so far away from anything. Hopefully nobody says anything about it, but who knows?
Shh, shh, shh.
We'll keep it on the down low.
You know Nathan watches this show.
We could have 3D printed all the components for the top bit. It wouldn't have been any metal then.
Yeah, where's the fun in that?
Damn.
Oh,
They
wow.
didn't have 3D printers back in Cavendish's day, did they?
No, they didn't
They didn't have any?
actually. No.
Would have been cheating.
For real, Phil. Professor Phil says, I would have stopped at that joint and asked for a medal. That is true.
Phil, go into my Discord, you'll find him. I don't think Tony's got his own channel in there, but you can find him through mine if you want to DM him.
Oh yeah, John, brass screws for sure. Right now I'm using steel ones just because it's really, really easy to twist a brass screw off, and then it's a pain in the ass to get it out. So I won't put the brass ones in until the last minute, and then I'll do it very carefully.
Oh, I've just noticed a comment that Brian's Logic left on Jose's stream yesterday. You cannot fly an airplane with its nose 1 to 3 degrees above horizontal and expect it to fly around a curved Earth that would be rotating underneath it. An absolute physical impossibility. And all the claims of gravity and other nonsense does not help it escape this physical impossibility. There you go.
It's Brian's Logic.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be him.
Or
Yeah,
like
I argued with him for a half hour about it, and he just won't listen.
Well, and Al-K responded to him. They've had a bit of a back and forth, and then Brian's put, no, Al, you have a belief, and this belief is like a sickness. It stops you from seeing the truth. You're defending a physical impossibility. There's no way around it. You're wrong forever, and all you appeals to this and that won't change that fact.
wow, it's a hell of an argument.
Hell
Wow.
of a child.
I know that nobody can prove me wrong, so it's easy to be confident. It's very difficult to prove that somebody's wrong when they absolutely refuse the vaguest possibility of them being wrong. And that's Brian's Logic.
I can't be wrong because I said so.
Wrong.
Not very logical.
No, well, no, that's. I'm sure that's the joke of his name as well. And if you disagree, then put down the books, leave the explanations at the door, and create a physical model of a plane moving along a horizontal that's got its nose slightly above it, and yet it still goes around a curve that's dropping away below it.
So he doesn't understand ballistic arcs or trajectories or anything like that.
Or just how an aircraft works.
I was just going to say, it doesn't explain how an airplane lands.
Well, it ignores the fact that the density gradient bends around the surface of the Earth, just like the Earth bends.
Yep.
So, Blue, I'd like to say that you were right on another case as well. So, as you know, I uploaded that picture, that lovely picture of the granite model of the Earth that had the water all over it.
Yeah.
And I've got myself a troll now. And
good.
And as an honest person, I left the troll comment in there because I really didn't care. And Professor Phil came in this afternoon and had a look at my video, and he squashed my troll, so I don't think I got a troll anymore.
Oh.
Oh, be kind to the trolls. They're fun.
Latanya, you're either up very early or very late, like me. One of the two.
About 8 o'clock in the morning. Next, Terry.
Oh, sorry, I was DMing.
No worries.
Going into trouble again today.
Oh, a fellow dungeon master. I had no idea, Terry. We should compare notes sometime.
Professor Phil, I sent you a link to that video too.
Yeah, I was typing to Phil. I get DMs from a few people when I'm live stream, so sometimes I've got to answer them. Okay. I'll do that while this one's playing.
G'day everybody, where's Wally here? Well, it's time for part 2 of the ISS Star Trails. Now, Anthony, Sleeping Warrior, he thinks he's got it sorted. He thinks it's all fake. He thinks it's all made up just to trick us and deceive us. He can't prove the trails claimed are any different to the ones that are shown on the screen though. They look identical to Earth-based ones. Unless he proves difference, they are Earth-based ones. I think he means different. I've got news for you, Anthony. And yes, I can prove it, mate. Oh, you've got my attention, Wally, and let's see what you can do, hey?
Explain that, matey.
Now, Anthony, a star trail has a lot of information in it. Now, if you understand what you're looking at, then it's really easy to tell them apart. Here is a proper north-facing one, and here is a proper south-facing one. And here is the one that we're looking at. It's a 50-degree facing one. And as you can see here, Anthony, I can see 3 stars on the ISS Star Trail one, but where on the southern facing star trail are those? If you're saying that these things are the same, it's like looking at 2 fingerprints and saying that they're the same because, well, they've all got a lot of squiggly lines on them both. Don't you reckon?
Explain that, matey.
Well, we know where the images were taken, and the initial ones used were captured when the ISS was over Zambia, and it was at 16 degrees south, and Polaris is not at all visible from that location. And the last image was taken when it was over Kenya. Ursa Minor was only just visible, so even though the ISS centre of rotation is visible, the North Star is not. So now what I did, that fatties really do, is go right back to the source images. If I went back any further, I'd be on the ISS in the cupola taking photos like Don Pettit. Now, I downloaded almost 600 images. These are all 2 or 3 megabytes each. A lot of download. The original one that Simon Dan showed only had about 200. And this is what I got. Now, what does that show you, Tony?
That's the thing that proves the Earth is turning.
This is a video of the star trails being generated. The bright trail is Polaris, and it became visible suddenly as the ISS crossed into the northern hemisphere from the southern hemisphere. And for those who still have doubts, there is a link in the description to a video made from all the same images, so have a look at that if you wish. Here is the image where I tagged Polaris, and this is the Stellarium screen cap to the same time date lat longs. And finally, this is the end product of all 594 images from 5407 to 6000. That is really pretty. So, Anthony Riley, what do you say now?
That's the thing that proves the Earth is turning.
So now, Anthony, to wrap this all up, I just want to show you a simulation. Now, this is cartoon graphics, by the way. This is a cartoon graphics simulation that Wolfie ran on one of his many software packages, and it shows the ISS doing these barrel rolls, loop-the-loops around the Earth. Now he sped it up to make it go much faster, so he does a full rotation of the Earth in a few seconds. And this is so very interesting because you can see that the centre of rotation doesn't disappear no matter where you are around the globe. So what would you call that?
That's the thing that proves the Earth is turning.
So Anthony, I think you're going to have to stop trusting Mitchell. He's led you up the garden path again. Like all flatties, you've made the common mistake of not doing your research. Which is so ironic because you keep saying, do your research. Anthony, can you please tell Mitchell that he's wrong again and that Dan and I are waiting for his apology?
And this is the end of Mitchell from Australia.
Shame to be an Australian with that Mitchell bloke.
Yeah, I bet.
We're not all like that.
No, well, we know that.
So does he also think that Australia is fictional?
Wouldn't surprise me.
I have to ask. I've never actually asked him that.
Okay. Find out. Do a little digging on that.
Yeah, have to do some research. I sent you a DM, Phil, if you're still out in the peanut gallery. What else have we got left? Oh, we're running behind schedule again. Okay.
There's the thing.
Yeah, a little bit behind, but not too bad. No, ahead of schedule. Sorry. What is it when you got plenty of time? That means you're running ahead of schedule. That's
Ahead.
Ahead of schedule.
Oh,
dear.
You're retired?
I get flustered when we're running behind schedule. I think that is what I was trying to think. Who we got here?
Mr. Sensible.
Oh, Mr. Sensitive. Here we go.
Is this the match? Mage design one. I'll say match. I'm still saying match.
Mr. Sensible. Mr. Sensible. Fighting stupidity. With logic and cheese.
Welcome back to the next video in the Mage series, construction. I already explained in the design video that changes were being thought of and implemented. You're going to see some of those tonight. So let's get stuck straight in. The most basic initial design was to have a box with two arms stretching forward with a taut string across the field of view of the camera. That was quickly changed to a wedge shape. This both saved weight because of the size of the box, but also splayed out the arms, keeping them out of the field of view of the camera. So step one is to start construction of the wedge-shaped box. Using tape lines and placing the camera in its position on the front face of Mage, we're able to check to make sure that the arms are not in view of the camera. Having confirmed this, we know that the dimensions and sizes of Mage are going to be okay, so we can actually start building it. Construction is from a lightweight and strong foam. The foam itself will help insulate all the equipment that's inside. The reason we want it as light as possible, of course, is so that we can go as high up as possible. A special glue is selected that won't dissolve the foam and yet will maintain its strength when it's down to minus 40, 50, even minus 60 degrees centigrade. Construction continues until we have the main payload box complete. The lid is double skinned for two reasons. One, so that the inner lip fits inside the top of Mage for security. The second is for additional strength. The reason behind that will become apparent very shortly. So let's have a quick look around the completed payload box with mock-up positions for items of equipment. On this side is the all-important Mission Above Globe Earth logo. This was filmed a little while back. On the other side will be logos for the very kind sponsors of Mage. Mr. Sensible is proud that Mage, the Mission Above Globe Earth, has been sponsored by Bob the Science Guy and his channel, Common Sense Science. I'm also proud that Mage is sponsored by Arctic Haze and his Climate Anomaly website. Thank you both very much. Carrying on, and at the narrow end of the wedge-shaped payload of Mage will be a standard action camera. This will have a wide-angle lens. We'll get a good view, but of course we will get distortion. This one is not being used for the actual flat Earth experiment. Next, we have the first big change to the Mage probe. A third camera. This camera is pointing upwards, so we'll be able to see the balloon throughout the entire flight and see how it expands from its 1 to 1.5 metres down at ground level to approximately 9.5 metres when it's at full height, and hopefully we'll catch a nice burst as well. This will show how the pressure drops as the journey proceeds. We may even be able to do some rough calculations as to the air pressure based on the amount of gas that was in the balloon to start with and the size it expands to. Across the lid of Mage we have another improvement, a GPS antenna. Now the original GPS tracking unit had its own built-in antenna, but with 3 cameras we're going to start to get electrical interference. So this is a sensitive aerial that's kept as far away from the cameras as is possible. This is the additional reason that the lid is double skinned, because of the weight of the equipment, camera and GPS antenna that is on top of it. And finally to the business end of Mage. This is where the non-distorting action camera will go, with its 90-degree field of view lens. And across its field of view will be the taut reference line. Well, actually, there'll now be 2. Another improvement. I'll talk about that in a moment. The next step is the test fitting of all the equipment. So here's our wide-angled lens camera that will give us the great shots, although we're going to get distortion. At the top, we've got our upward-facing balloon cam. Here's the balloon cam again, and a shot showing the GPS antenna. And at the front, the camera for the Flat Earth experiment, the GitUp Git2P90. This is still the camera we're planning to use, but in the launch and experiment video, links to the actual camera and its specifications will be provided. Now as the lid is lifted, you can get a better idea of the scale of Mage. You can see the balloon camera and the GPS antenna, as well as the rear of the wide-angled lens camera. Looking in the other direction, you can see the rear of the main experimental narrow lens camera and the cabling that leads from the GPS antenna down to the main tracking unit. Yes, I said the main one. Apart from all the things that can go wrong I mentioned previously, like not achieving the height we want or batteries running out, the most important thing is for us to be able to track Mage. We have 2 tracking units, the main one that's inside Mage and a secondary backup tracker that is going to dangle a distance below Mage. The secondary tracker is also encased in foam to try and keep it as warm as possible. And just for fun, why not make it a nice cheesy wedge shape? Well, it would be rude not to, wouldn't it? I've been massively supported in this project by a guy who wishes to remain anonymous, Q. Not only has Q given me technical support and advice, he's also loaned me a lot of this equipment. He is an experienced high altitude balloonist. He will be helping me with the launch and tracking of Mage. But more than that, Q came up with a bright idea. My original thought was to have a line tight across the field of view of the camera to show that the image was not distorted. Q suggested having 2 lines so that we'll end up with one that's above the horizon and one that's below. We'll make the line that's above the horizon bright yellow so that it shows up very well against the dark sky, and the line that's below the horizon will make a dark colour line so it shows up against the clouds. This also doubles our chances of having the line visible on any screen captured image so that we can check for the lack of distortion. Instead of having 2 single arms stuck out from the side of Mage, we now have a cage. This also helps maintain the rigidity of the arms because now we have 2 spring-loaded lines strung across the field of view. Now we've made a number of changes to Mage here. We've added a 3rd camera and therefore a 3rd battery pack. We've added a 2nd tracker unit. We've added a GPS antenna. We've also added more woodwork to enable us to have the reference frame strings taut. It presents a new problem. Too much weight. The balloon chosen, the amount of gas required and the size of parachute needed were all based on a payload weight of around 500 grams. We're now up to an estimated 869. This means we're not going to get so high. I was beginning to wonder if
This just will not do, Mr. Sensible. If you are going to do this, then you really need to go for it.
Quite right, Professor. We should go for it. I have had amazing support for the Mage project, so we're going to have a larger parachute to cope with the greater weight. We are going to have a larger balloon to enable it to lift that weight, and more gas. What's more, I've changed the target. The initial target was 30 kilometres high, about 18.6 miles. We're now aiming for 39 kilometres, which is 24.2 miles, the same height that Felix Baumgartner went to. So I hope this makes you even more excited. 39 kilometres. So big thanks to all the support I've had from everybody, from Super Chats, members, patrons, my sponsors, Bob the Science Guide and Arctic Haze, and Q Anon for all your help. I'm really looking forward to this. Keep watching the Mage series, so make sure you're subscribed and hit notify. See you all again soon, and stay sensible. Many thanks to all my patrons, including new patrons Loretta Carroll, Steve Arson, Flint, Tati Bogle, Watto and Elizabeth Sagan, and my latest patrons Michael Burnham, Brian Ramsey, Sharkworks, X-Penguin95, Stephen York, Huey Closer and Wee Scott's Dog. Thank you all so very much.
That means it's down to the last couple of weeks, because that was the whole plan.
Yeah.
Not to notify anything until the last couple of weeks because of the restrictions on when you had to notify them that, or put in your application to launch something up for that.
I think he had
what they call
about
it.
he had about a month's
Then it'll be-
window.
Yeah, it'll be in 2 weeks ish.
So no one else can do it now. So he'll once he gets his going, that'll be it.
That might be a rule in England. I'm not sure there's any such restriction here in the U.S.
For the aviation thingy.
Yeah.
28 days. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
I'm
a
not sure.
he'll have a certain launch window and a certain time of day or whatever it is.
Yeah, ask Bam Furball, because he's done it a couple of times now.
Well, it'll go up as a NOTAM, they call it, a notice to airmen.
Yep.
But it's just a local thing in a local, specific local area. And those NOTAMs come out every day. That's not anything that has to be published well ahead of time or any such. So I'm not sure what the rules are here. I don't have any idea.
You thinking of doing it?
Hmm?
Were you thinking of doing it? Something similar?
Oh, no.
Oh, that seems to be towards the end of the show tonight, boys and girls. We'll end with the Pip story and catch us all next week. What's today? Saturday. Oh, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I forgot what day it was there for a second. I don't think I've seen this one before. I'm not sure.
Lucy's Pussy Cat. Lucy went to school one day, all sad and feeling woozy. Her kitty got caught in the rain. Poor soggy, smelly pussy. It really was quite damp and moist. Its tail felt flat and juicy. It was giving off a fishy smell. Ooh, soggy, smelly pussy. She'd found a towel to pat it dry, all pink and soft and cushy. But Kitty wasn't playing ball. Bad, soggy, smelly pussy. Oh, what to do? It can't stay wet. Its hair will end up bushy. It might grow mould, or something worse. Poor soggy, smelly pussy. I know, she said. I'll use the dryer. That way I'm not too pushy. It gives a soft and gentle blow. Oh, lucky soggy pussy. So after school, when Lucy looked, her kitty was all floofy. She promised not to get it wet. Poor dry and bushy pussy. Forgot about that one. Oh my God. Oh.
Subtle is not the first word that springs to mind.
I don't know what came over me.
Fanurk.
Yeah.
Was that autobiographical in any way?
No.
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 Just a dirty mind.
No. It's...
Dirty minds think alike, Pip.
There we go. Oh, thanks everyone. Thanks Dean for dropping in. JJ Thompson, the physicist, I guess. No name. Pip, Pheasant Plucker, Peter, Nippet, Big Blue Cavendish. Who do we have out here in the Peanuts? Demon, LBJ, LB Things, Brainery, Stewie, Carl, Tony, Peter G. Some of these people I don't know because these are probably Alan subscribers. Fred. Scroll up. I already said Brainery. John Rapp. Oh, there's a no name out there. Oh, hey, no name.
Hey, Derek.
Oh, and Professor Tony was out there too. He was on our last show, if anyone remembers. Professor Tony. Does anyone remember Professor Tony from our last show?
Yeah, it rings a bell.
Yeah, we ring a bell. Yeah. Who else? I said Carl, didn't I? Yeah, that's about all. If I forget anyone, sorry, you know that. Yeah, they're all regulars. Okay then. Okay then. Good night, Peanuts. Night panel.
Night, Peanuts.
Night, Peanuts.
Night,
Peanuts.
See you, Peanuts.
Good night, Bat Nuts.
Best hanging out with you guys.
Bat Nuts.
Bat Nuts. Yeah, I'll put a link in the chat. Go check it out. They are weird, and you'll see why they call them Bat Nuts.